Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for you today, covering the world of boxing and beyond. All for your viewing and listening pleasure. We got a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to have to be discussing on today, like with the likes of Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz, with some new developments from the words of Oscar De La Hoya himself, giving him a deadline with Eddie Hearn of if you don't get a deal done now, we moving on. And whether or not that's a real issue or not, more than anything, is that count as an official duck on the side of Oscar De La Hoya. And what this means, if this is a duck in the mindset of somebody who's supposed to be one of the biggest boogeymen in boxing, Virgil Ortiz, does Oscar really not have the confidence that his man, his pride and joy, his best in the business of his stable in Virgil Ortiz, can come through and get it done against one of the biggest rising stars in sport in the likes of Boots Ennis? And hey, in all reality, it's a situation where he kind of just waving the white flag. Are his demands overly exorbitant? We're going to talk about all of that right here on the show. Also, we got the likes of Ryan Garcia versus Mario Barrios officially getting announced. And it is now for February 7th, I believe, is the date. So we got Ryan Garcia and Virgil and Mario Barrios officially set in stone for this year for a championship opportunity. We're going to be discussing that as well as so much more stuff in the world of boxing and beyond, like with the likes of Matias KOing Dalton, Subriel Matias getting knocked out against Dalton Smith. My goodness, my word. Oh gosh, we're going to talk about that as well. I got that completely wrong, and y'all shut me up with y'all predictions and picks on when you all said that Dalton Smith was going to actually get it done and couldn't knock him out. I said it was possible. I didn't think it was going to be plausible for the stance of what we know with Subriel Matias. But hey, lo and behold, we got a new WBC champion. Hey, congratulations to Dalton Smith. We're going to talk about his performance. We're going to talk about how he won. We're going to talk about why he won. We're going to talk about where he goes from here. Is unification with Adam Azim down the line. There are some other fights, like with Gary Antoine Russell potentially at 1-4, maybe going up against the winner of Tio versus Shakur. Hypothetically, there's a whole bunch of different avenues and windows that this can go and fly out of, in the sense of how much of a open window of opportunity Dalton Smith has in store for him. Because, hey, man, he shocked the world. I tell you what, he put himself on the map. And everybody now knows this brother from the UK ain't somebody to take lightly, who just took out the boogeyman. We're going to talk about it all right here on this show and so much more. So please, if you are tuned in, leave a like on the stream. As we're doing our intro properly, leave a like on the stream. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Come join the Empire. Be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe, with the greatest community that we got in all of the land. Also, if you would, hit the notification bell so you know whenever we post on YouTube, and you can keep up with whatever we do on this channel. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, on every podcasting platform imaginable. And please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. All with you and your support, we can make it possible to be bigger, better, and stronger, and live up to the moniker of the greatest show in all the globe, all with you and your support. And if you would like to give to the channel, and you like what you got going on, or you like what you hear and what you see, and you want to keep this going, hey, we're funded by people like you. We recently got monetization, so if you can give to the show, we got super stickers, super chats, and all that stuff, super gifts. If you can support, would mean the world to me. Also, in Cash App and PayPal, links down below in the description as well, if you would like to support the channel with anything possible to help us to invest back into it, help make it even more inspirational, as well as just all around better production quality, no question. But we're still doing this as if we on TV. Doggone, you can't get this type of entertainment on TV. You only get it right here on the best show in the world. But if you want this to grow even better, hey, your support would mean the world to me, no question about it. Absolutely. But with all that being said, we got a whole bunch of show to cover. We got a lot of boxing to cover too. We got sports to talk about. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to step into the ring. Yes, sir. Come on. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway. I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm sniffing. Yeah, well, it's been a little bit cold down here where I'm at. But regardless to which, we got a whole bunch of action talking about. We got so many topics. Oh gosh, I didn't realize my mic was so loud. Let me turn that down a little bit. I do apologize about blowing like eardrums. My mic was up too high. My apologies. But we got a lot of ways we can go with how we want to discuss this entire show. There we go. Okay, yeah, there we go. Got it. So we're gonna delve into the world of Boots Ennis first and foremost, with the allegations of him ducking or getting ducked by Oscar De La Hoya himself. Yes. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh me. Oh my. Oh my. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it looks really bad. It looks like a horrible situation. Also, real quick, believe you put your chats in the comment section so we can have your voice added to the conversation. I forgot to say that at the start of the show. Like we game all night. Hey, buddy, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. We game. Thank you for tuning into the show. Hey, look, I'm not gonna lie. I might have been up a little bit later playing the game myself. Hey, might have been a little bit reason why I was late to coming on the show. But you know, just having our fun, trying to get our kicks here or there before the work week starts. But either way, you know, do what we do. But hey, look, I'm glad that you tuned in. But right now, we're gonna discuss while you're here, Boots getting ducked by seemingly Oscar De La Hoya straight up, outright, genuinely. And it's because of the fact that what we heard all week long, all month long, building up, in fact, to the entirety of this fight was that Boots and Virgil was the fight to make, was it not? As I'm drinking my tea, Boots and Virgil was the fight that the Globe wanted to witness and see. Everybody was excited to see the likes of two of the hardest hitting, most exciting, and very much prominent talents in the sport coming face off against each other. We were all set and ready to see what this could indeed be and achieve from an entertainment and outright clashing perspective, coupled with the fact that, hey, Virgil hadn't won a championship yet in his career. Boots had won two championships, unified him at 140, and was looking to come to 154 as the beginning of his magnum opus in the best run of his career, looking to potentially become undisputed. Whoever won this fight was going to most likely be seen not just as the best talent in the division, but most likely the leading candidate to get that undisputed reign. However, now after meeting in the ring, after calling each other out, after saying we're going to fight in the center of it, we've been thrown a bunch of obstacles in our way that keep on holding up this fight, that continue to make this whole seemingly a simple situation turn to an absolute overblown mess. It is a shame. It's a real shame. And the latest, or rather the most recent development in all this is the fact that we have now heard from both the likes of Oscar De La Hoya and Oscar De La Hoya, as well as Eddie Hearn, in regards to discussing, in all actuality, the reality of why this fight isn't happening, and more importantly, two sides of the story with what each is offering. And I'll let them tell it to you themselves. But before I play the clips in the old picture-in-picture, essentially summarize it, we got the likes of Oscar De La Hoya saying he wants a 60-40 split with 10% going to the winner, and he's not moving off those demands, and he's giving them a deadline of the end of the day, I believe, yesterday, or at the time of that video, if we're going by the words of Oscar De La Hoya himself at the time that he posted, also posted about his own channels, Fight Hub TV, and a bunch of other social media outlets. So essentially, by this morning, I'm gonna just assume by 5 o'clock, dude don't get done, he moving on. And my gosh, it's a shame. And I'll let him say it for himself, what he's thinking, why he's thinking, and why exactly Oscar is moving in this way as we delve into the world of picture and picture. Yes, indeed. Here you go from the man himself. This is the final offer that Oscar De La Hoya said he's going to give to Eddie Hearn and Boots before anything, since he jumps off on his end to go look for somebody else. As we're just making sure the audio ain't gonna blow your eardrums out. Here you go.
All right, what's up, guys? As promised, a big announcement today. Ryan Garcia versus Barrios is finalized. It will happen February 21st in Las Vegas. And as you already know, Benavides versus Zurdo is also set for Cinco de Mayo weekend here in Las Vegas. That will be an absolute banger. Now, all that's left to be sorted out for the first quarter of 26 is who Virgil's next opponent will be. I said 3 days ago that I'll sign immediately for a 60-40 fight with boots with 5% to the winner, which is crazy generous considering Virgil Ortiz has the better resume. Boots is interchangeable with Fundora and Errol Spence. He needs this fight with Virgil far more than we do. But I'm willing to make the fight. I'm willing to make the fight. Let's do this. Eddie, I haven't heard from you, and if I don't by the end of the day, I'm going to start discussions with other opponents, with Al Heyman and PBC. Oh, and surprise, Al and I made peace, and we are united now. We literally can put on bangers all year with the rosters we have here in America. So, if anybody has an offer, you better come in guns blazing, because we are committed to making the biggest fights here in America.
So again, as you can see right now, putting his foot down. And apparently this is the move that he is aiming to make to really go and push the needle. Now, in response to that, we had another interview with the likes of who was it? Eddie Hearn, that's who I was thinking. Had another interview with like Eddie Hearn that also held the other side of the coin with these whole negotiation tactics. And excuse me, I got the number wrong. I'm sorry. It was 60-40 with the 5%, additional to the winner, not 10%. My apologies on my misrepresentation of the news. But either way, you heard it from the horse's mouth himself. For Oscar's side, this is Eddie Hearn in his response to everything going on with how this type of potential obstacle that Oscar's putting in his way of not agreeing to what he thought was a fair deal from Eddie Hearn's perspective, how it's going. Now let him say it for himself as we again go transition into the world of picture and picture. There we go. If it'll play. Will it play? There we go. Just gonna play.
And I'll say it because obviously Oscar's 50-50 and 5% for the winner. Okay? So basically 55-45 to the winner. We all agreed and we left the room to make the deal. JARON ENNIS signed the contract and Virgil Ortiz didn't sign the contract. Okay? Now, if they don't want to do that deal anymore and they want to renege on their word, that's fine. I'm not going to moan about it, but I have to speak to my client because that's very different to what was agreed in the room. I really don't feel like this is the most obvious 50-50 fight that can be, but I'm very happy to look at, and I'm not going to come out and go, winner takes all. We do that. But anything can happen in boxing, and you've got to protect the fighter. But I'm happy to have that overlay of a bigger percentage for the winner. So if you truly believe you're going to win the fight, you will get by far the lion's share. And I'm not going to come out and tell you what it is, and I'm not going to.
Would you go as far as 60-40 to the winner?
I'm going to go back to Oscar de la Hoya, who at the moment, touch wood, everything's friendly. I believe Oscar de la Hoya wants to make the best fights. And when he says, Eddie, you're desperate, you're showing your hand, I am desperate. I'm desperate to make the best fights in boxing for DAZN. And for me, this fight is the best fight in American boxing.
Where does Rick Meridian's position in this? Because there's been a lot of...
We don't have any conversations with Rick Meridian. We only deal with Golden Boy on this fight. We're not interested in talking to Ortiz's manager. I think Oscar was talking about something else, but we just want to deal with Oscar de la Hoya and Eric Gomez, and we want to do it in a friendly and cordial fashion. And I will be going back to them this week with my ideas to try and make the fight. I have to speak to my client because we agreed, and everybody in that room knows what was agreed. But if that's not on the table anymore, we've got to revisit it.
So here's the thing. Eddie Hearn's ready for the fight. Eddie Hearn wants it to go down. Eddie Hearn is ecstatic and is in his, or at least is fervent in his attempt to not let anything from the standpoint of monetary hangups go and riddle what should be an incredible performance. And if I'm gonna be completely honest, this seems like a very dangerous ploy for Oscar De La Hoya due to the fact that I don't care what he has with the likes of Al Heyman and what relationship. That doesn't mean anything to me from the standpoint of if it's great, no problem. What I care about is the fact that this fight, even under the likes of Al Heyman, is going to be the biggest fight that you can make, and your own fighter. If you want to say that he is the bigger name, he has the bigger resume, we have to be in the reality of what our sentiments of us or our sentiments of viewpoint when looking at Virgil Ortiz, what it is. And the real thing is, brother, Virgil Ortiz is not in a position, even with as big of a star as he is from the standpoint of a threatened weight division, to go and just say, hey, outright, I'm the dude that is able to run the show. More so with Oscar De La Hoya trying to say that more so than Virgil Ortiz. But regardless of which, saying you can get other names like Fundora, saying you get other names like Errol Spence Jr., all of that only sounds like other hangups to try to say, we don't need you, we need other options. But when the reality is hitting the fan, you do need boots in this situation. You do. That's not me trying to make it seem like Virgil isn't anything. And again, this is not on Virgil Ortiz's head from the standpoint of his responsibility for why this fight isn't happening. Be clear. Virgil probably wants to fight outright. And we've seen all the stuff his manager's been doing with has had a bunch of different questions involving how you're painting your own, to use Eddie Hearn's words, client and or your fighter in a light that he might not even be thinking about from the standpoint of he just wants it to go through, but you trying to be too greedy, and now you're making Ortiz look very much in a very bad light. That's what we're seeing with Oscar De La Hoya right now. He's asking for something that really shouldn't be asked. If we're being completely honest, this is a 50-50 affair. And if we want to go with monetarily, buddy, I hate to break it to you. And I don't normally get into business and numbers and all this stuff. We care about the fight as the main thing. But in a normal situation, buddy, what normally goes on out here? Virgil Ortiz is not selling out as much. It's not it's not being able to captivate as much of a conducive audience on a consistent basis against any sort of opponent from the standpoint of on average. And we'll go with the resume on top of the acclaim. Not only is Boots being talked about as the next face of this sport from the standpoint of the next guy to help lead this new generation. Everybody's saying that he's the next Terrence Crawford. If anybody that has a moniker of talent or a moniker of knowledge of the game, Boots has come up in a lot more conversation than Virgil Ortiz from the average, even casual fan, as well as resume-wise, he's got more belts than you. He's become unified. He has actually fought and won against championships who were good fighters. This is not me saying that Virgil hasn't fought quality opponents. He has. But also accolades haven't shown up to the point he can say, oh yeah, I'm doing all this and a champion. Would it help if you had that on your dossier? But sadly, you don't. To a degree, some degree, it's not your fault. But even still, that's the reality. You can be moving like you think that you just the bee's knees, where everything runs through you. When in the real reality, Boots is the bigger star. If you want to go that route, and you trying to have a hang up with this whole situation, trying to bully your way into getting the best available option for the standpoint of money for Virgil Ortiz, which again makes sense, but in this situation, it's not conducive. Because all signs are pointing to the fact that if you really believe that you could be that Virgil Ortiz could beat Boots 50-50 with 5% extra, would be seen and recognized. Or would be seen as, that's fair. That's fair. That is fair. At least in my opinion, that's fair. 60-40 from the standpoint of a stint that's not even a championship fight where you don't even have a belt. Both of you all are seen somewhat in the same threshold at this division of two of the most dominant forces in the entirety of 154. And while Virgil Ortiz has been around at 154 more often, this type of test is something that, hey, Virgil, from a championship perspective, this is a championship caliber opponent. And we're ready to see if you can beat Boots, you can beat anybody else up here. You can be Boots, you can be, yeah, you for sure be Fundor. If you can be Boots, you can show enough beat Spence, but why are you even bringing up Spence in this type of situation when Spence is not even a name that should be talked about as a viable option for you in your fighting tenure? Now, when you have immediate competition in front of you that if you beat them, you will have the luxury of demanding that 60-40, shoot, even 70-30, hypothetically, going into any other fight you want to grab. And also even finally reaching that cachet of the worldwide acclaim that you feel that you deserve, or that Oscar feels that you are already at. Since we got all the fights that we can make at a drop of a hat that can do whatever we want to do. I don't think this is smart on the side of Oscar De La Hoya. And if he really does want this fight, he'll take the fight. He'll go back to the negotiating table, like what Eddie Hearn says. He'll collaborate, and he'll do something where it's fair. We could see a situation where it's 55-40 with a 10% extra on whoever actually wins the fight. So ultimately, if Virgil wins, he still gets it 60-40. Could work. But it's a matter of you have got to start dragging your feet. Because all signs have been pointing to, at least with Oscar De La Hoya, that he has been the stagnating thorn in the side that has caused this fight to not take place. And him working in this way, especially bringing up names like Errol Spence Jr., Fundora, who's got a fight with Keith Thurman yet, and we don't even know if he's going to win against Keith Thurman. He could, but again, we assume he's going to be the favorite, but again, we don't know. We're dealing with a optic level that is hurting the cachet of not just Oscar De La Hoya, but Virgil Ortiz as well. It's causing more people to think, hey man, what we see this fight as and what you trying to say this fight as, it ain't matching up. Virgil ain't as big as you may assume. If he wants to get to that level, Boots is the man to win against and prove that I deserve that. That's what it is. And if you really believe that you and Virgil Ortiz are better than Eddie Hearn and Boots, you would take and make that fight with reasonable negotiations to give your fighter a chance to show his worth in gold. Because right now, Eddie Hearn's way too giddy about trying to make this, because he knows, most likely, or he's got full confidence, I got this in the bag. Does Oscar have that same confidence in Boots or in Virgil Ortiz? I don't know. Not what it's looking like right now. It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty. But let me see what you all got to say as we keep on going through. Let me see. What is it? Bubbles Boxing Academy, how you doing? Hi, man. BBA, Bubbles Boxing Academy. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Puerto Rican Boxing down bad. Oh, you talking about with Dalton Smith knocking out Sabril Matias. I believe Sabril Matias is Cuban. I believe he's Cuban. Cuban. No way, actually, that makes sense. Cuban, Puerto Rican descent. I kind of, yeah, you're right. I got my ethnicity and nationalities kind of mixed up. My apologies. But even still, yeah, look, it's a lot of drama going on with Dalton Smith, KO and the likes of Boots, of Sabril Matias. And we get ready to switch gears and talk about that fight. Absolutely. That's a big shakeup at 154 that we do have to discuss. No question about it. That'll be the next topic of the day that we will delve into after we finish with a little more conversations with Virgil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis. Let me see. There's only one Dalton. Yeah, look. Right now, he proved us wrong. Like I said, we're going to touch on it right after this segment because he did prove me wrong. He showed me a whole bunch of quality, not just power, but boxing. I mean, real boxing. Hey, look, he showed up, son. I can't deny that. But let me see. Who told you Boots is the bigger star? It's not me. It's the numbers. It's the money. It's the track record. It's also the accolades. It's from the standpoint of Boots has been attached to the name of Terrence Crawford for the majority of his entire career. He's been pushed or rumbled in the mouths and in the minds of boxing fans, hardcore and even casuals, for a litany of years, to the point that we were saying, hey, it's time for you to step on the gas and start making some moves, because your prospect moniker, your up next sentiment is starting to run out. You about 30 years old. You have 32 fights. It's time for you to get some more championships and look to make a run at becoming undisputed in the multiple divisions that you said you could do, which I believe you can do. But you got to do it. You got to do it. That's the issue. And he wasn't. And now he is doing it. And he's been talked about in a vastly more widespread acclaim and appeal. This is not disrespecting Virgil Ortiz. Again, Virgil Ortiz is not getting brought up on First Take, one of the biggest American sports shows in the world, who rarely talks about boxing at all, unless it's something huge, like with Terrence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, like with Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury, like with the likes of Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. All those types of fights are the only time that we see ESPN on public television fully go and say something about the world of boxing. And all of a sudden we see Boots getting mentioned as, hey buddy, on a widespread acclaim, this cat's up next for the globe, not just for the States. This is not me saying that they may be right or wrong. This is me saying that the popularity and the immediate cachet is fervently more on Boots Ennis. You can say Virgil at 154 is vastly more experienced. Absolutely. Has taken on better tests. Absolutely. But you got to understand, dude, you ain't got a belt right now. You're almost in the same juxtaposition that if you want to say that Boots ain't got the same experience, you ain't got the accolades that you should have gotten by now if you're Virgil Ortiz. Some of it's not your fault, I understand, but some of it is. And right now, when you got a chance to make that leap that you said you deserved, again, could be that's not even Virgil Ortiz's fault, but because of who's around Virgil Ortiz, because of how Oscar De La Hoya is handling these negotiations, because how his managers handling all these types of movements behind the scenes involving money from the standpoint of trying to get the best value. They're overpricing him. They're overpricing what Virgil Ortiz is. They're overpricing what his quality content is as a fighter from the standpoint of revenue because of popularity, notoriety. This is not because I'm saying Virgil isn't a bad dude. In the ring, you're not hearing me say anything. We're talking about outside the ring. If you want to get where you think you deserve to be as one of the biggest outright stars, not just local stars in your own division, outright stars in the globe, where you can throw your weight around like the way that Oscar De La Hoya is trying to do it with Virgil Ortiz right now, you got to beat Boots. You have to. Boots Ennis is as much of a litmus test for Virgil Ortiz as Virgil Ortiz is a litmus test for Boots Ennis. That's the reality. That's the reality right now. If he can't see that, that's a problem. And it's a duck, because there's no fight that can bring more money in the immediate that would be the most high-profile affair in the immediate, as well as would move you up higher outside of a straight-up championship fight, would move you up higher in rankings and in the overall viewpoint of boxing in the immediate point in time than Boots Ennis. There's nobody else. And there's nobody else that makes better sense. There's nobody that makes better sense right now than Boots Ennis. So why in the world are you moving in this way if you're Oscar De La Hoya, not actively trying to make this fight, at least on paper, as fervently as the likes of Eddie Hearn is? They signed the contract when y'all were in the room. They gave it to y'all. Virgil Ortiz hadn't signed it yet. Oscar De La Hoya hadn't done anything with it yet. And now it's like you all are messing up. From my perspective, it's my opinion. After giving you the facts of what's been going on, my opinion is the fact that Oscar's messing up right now. And if this fight doesn't happen, we can point to him and the way that he's handled this entire affair, which is bad. It's incredibly bad. Let me keep on reading what you all have to say. And also, please, if you are here, if you're here, please leave a like on the stream. It helps out immensely to the masses to help push this show to the globe all across the land. And if you would, please just leave a like on the stream and keep on subscribing if you haven't already, and come on and join the empire. But I want to see what you all got to say before we continue on. Let me see. Virgil is the last star that Oscar has. You're right. He is. From the standpoint of the biggest moniker, the threat level is there, but you also got to understand, man, at this point in time, should Virgil have the luxury to be able to call out the likes of Errol Spence Jr. without any sort of flack and with everybody else tied up in a fight? You keep saying you can get Fundora. You can't get Fundora now because he's with Thurman. Scheduled for, I believe, February. In a championship opportunity. You're going to wait around for that when you have a fight that would, in all honesty, be bigger than that fight right under your nose? Right under your nose? It's right there for you. There's no reason why Virgil Ortiz couldn't be seen as being able to beat Boots, because all of us have been saying this is the biggest, most polarizing threat that Boots has to face to date. Everybody been saying, hey, Virgil can knock him out. Virgil can give us some trouble. Virgil can put him in a bad state. He can. All that's true. It's going to be a great fight because of the legit talent that Virgil Ortiz is. So if you have faith in that, let him fight him. You said you wanted big fights from Virgil. You said Virgil is already a big star. He can do whatever he wants with the biggest names. Well, this is one of the biggest names. Make a move. Make a move. You got to do something.
We got the problems here. We got the problems here.
Do something. Because if you don't do something, you're the one that's looking like you don't got faith in your own fighter. And because you ain't got faith in your own fighter, guess what? Leads us all to believe, hey, buddy, you're the one that's hurting the cashier of this very fight, because we're looking at you in the way that you're moving with a fight that's supposed to be the best in your possession. And I was like, oh, you might not believe in Virgil Ortiz. You might not believe in Virgil Ortiz. The faith is gone. The faith is gone. The faith might be gone. And it might be because, and this, Virgil may believe full-heartedly. Virgil may want this fight absolutely, but it's people around him. That's the biggest problem. The people around Virgil seem to not want Virgil to fight Boots, but Virgil does want to fight Boots. He does. Now, I don't like the fact that he says Errol Spence is on the table. But knowing Virgil as the normal track record, been on average, but it just faced off against competition, even though we've had our gripes what he's done, a little bit recent. Understandable. I'm not even pinning this on Virgil Ortiz. It's the other people that seem to have faith in the buddy, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Boots is the biggest star. The numbers say so. Virgil can't sell out a family picnic. Again, he had his last couple things on average was 6,000 to 8,000. Once again, it's respectable. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that we've seen Boots sell out bigger stadiums in quicker fashion with a consistency that is above the level of Virgil Ortiz. That's not me. That's not a knock against him. That's just the hierarchy of the pull that we've seen Boots have. This is not me trying to be disrespectful. We don't do the thing where we have numbers and revenue and all that stuff to try to demean somebody. The only reason why I talk about that type of stuff is to help paint the picture of who should be getting the lion's share of money in immediate negotiations. And that doesn't necessarily mean somebody's going to win the fight outright. Absolutely. Absolutely. But from a star power perspective, from an entity standpoint of where you rank in the hierarchy of monetary value in the sport, we had to take that into account, because that's the most reasons why these fights don't be happening, because people be outpricing themselves. They outprice themselves. Virgil Ortiz is getting outpriced by Oscar De La Hoya, and he's acting like other people are going to move in a way that's going to be, all well and good. Mind you, there's a real situation. We could see, even if this fight don't happen and Fundora and Thurman go through, I dare say we could see Fundora and Thurman try to go after the likes of Boots Ennis instead of Virgil Ortiz if they want to capitalize on that monetary value. Especially keep Thurman because of the fact that he's, again, 35, 36 years old. Time waits for no man. We could see everybody skip over Virgil Ortiz because, hey, buddy, you're not the buddy that's going to bring in the dough like we need to with this championship caliber and this belt that we got around our waist. And it wasn't the case before when Virgil Ortiz, yes, to a degree, was being ducked by opponents, wasn't getting championship opportunities, though we could argue he also wasn't pushing for them in the way that he should have as he was dominating at 154. We can also, it's a two-way street as well in some degree. We said the same thing about Buckram with his butt winning the belt. And then going on the sidelines, not doing a doggone thing, not being more vocal with advocating to get a championship fight. It's a two-way street in this type of situation. Again, there's no favoritism here. I'm just being as real as I can be. Try to keep it as unbiased as possible. But the fact of the matter is, you're digging a grave for your fighter. That, like, if push comes to shove, buddy, this could end very badly for you. Doing too much on behalf of somebody else. We see what's going on with Richardson Hitchens right now. Don't look at Richardson Hitchens. Devin Haney's clowning him on social media, and everybody else is as well, because of the fact that he went away from $2 million to fight Keyshawn Davis to fight Ken Bosos for $700K. Got a belt, absolutely, but now he's calling everybody else in the world because nobody else cares about Richardson Hitchens. Because when there was an opportunity that was right in front of him to be an incredible be in an incredible position for eyes to be on him, he neglected it when it was against a game fighter in Keyshawn Davis. Now he's calling out T.O., now he's calling out Shakur, now he's calling out all these people. But nobody cares about him. And he's almost being iced out to some degree. And you shot yourself in the foot. Now you're trying to work your way back up. Don't make that mistake if you're Oscar De La Hoya with Virgil Ortiz. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because if it gets to a point that we see this fight not happen and Boots gets to a level where he is without you, he's still doing what Boots is doing, which most likely is going to be the case. Next thing you know, now you're out the pasture. Now you won a championship opportunity, but hey, I'm getting all this money, and I reached my stardom. I got my zenith. I got my belt in the biggest headlining event against somebody else who was a champion, and now, bing, bang, boom, I'm at the top of the division by most eyes, and I still want to fight you, but that leveraging power that you're trying to use that you didn't have back then, you sure enough ain't gonna have once if that reality happens. Where now he can be potentially 70-30, shoot, maybe 80-20 with this fact of the matter of how much of a potent star we are laden to see Virgil Ortiz, Boots Ennis elevate to, hypothetically, within the next couple of years. It can be a problem. And then you shooting yourself in the foot, man. You shooting yourself in the foot. Let me see. Hey, Justin, what's going on, buddy? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. We're so happy that you're with us on today. Also, we got likes of Johnny Blaze. How you doing as well? Thank you for tuning in. So happy to see you coming in on the show. We're going to be saying hi to everybody. Do not worry. I gave up on that fight when Boots ducked the Turkey Saudi offer. Even Turkey said Boots asked for two tune-ups. Nobody said much about it back then. Why would anyone care now? And again, now mind you, I spoke on that. Mind you, we talked about this in the past. We brought up the fact that the tables have now turned. Formerly, it was Boots Ennis wasting time, not taking the fight that he should have took with Virgil Ortiz at 154 when he was offered Turkey Al Sheik and he wanted tune-up fights. He said he stayed down at 147 when he should have been already moving up. Getting beat standing down is understandable, but even still, he had a chance and then he fell through and didn't take it. And now, okay, he wants the work, but now the work is evading him. But at least he's moving in the manner that we wanted to see him do. Okay. You got your 1 tune-up fight, and now you're vying to get Virgil Ortiz. You're pushing to get the big fights, and now it's flipped from you being stagnant to you being active and everybody else being stagnant. So now it was Boots that was the problem, and then paid for it. He lost out on a huge payday. He did. and a potential big opportunity to make a splash up there. When we thought he should have already been at 154. But now, he's made the change. He has changed his entire makeup, working to be active in this sport against people that are on his level, which I love. And he is now working to get in position for a championship while also taking on, while he isn't the champion, the biggest threat up there at 154 right now in Virgil Ortiz, which we can applaud and commend. Look, the past is the past. We hated it and we called it out, and now it's changed. And that was Virgil on the flip side that's holding, or rather Oscar De La Hoya, not Virgil, Oscar De La Hoya, his manager, holding up the line on the other end of the spectrum. That's making it so that, while this is a 50-50 fight, they're trying to leverage themselves up. I think De La Hoya is overpricing Virgil Ortiz for what this fight is, but nonetheless, both entities put themselves in this situation, which is a shame. So I get that you gave up qualm, or gave up the inclination that this fight would be going on. I get it. I understand it completely. It's gonna happen. What if it ain't start of the year? It's probably gonna be end of the year. It's gonna happen one way or another. One way or another, it's gonna happen because there is too much on the line from a money perspective, where the fight is at a perfect boiling point, and they've seen what's been going on with Turkey Al Sheikh and the ring Riyadh season, all that stuff. Where if you let it, also with the track record of boxing in the past, if you let it stay too long, everybody will then inevitably lose at some point. And so the momentum of that fight completely gets capped at the knees. And now when you had it right in your possession, you lost out on immense business and money, as well as the legacy that fight would have brought if you'd been able to do it. Look at Tyson Fury. Just look at Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. That fight is still the biggest fight in UK history, but it is not nearly the heights at what it would have been if it had actually been done and happened at the right time, when it was at a perfect boiling point where everything was in place. It's a shame. And they waited it out too long. Wilder, Anthony Joshua, they waited out too long. It's a ridiculous sentiment that it's history repeating itself over and over and over in one way or another, regardless of the reason. And I hate it. I despise it. But please keep on liking the video as we keep on reading your chats. And Boots didn't duck. He was coming off his worst performance versus Karin 2. Why would Boots move up and fight a dude when he has no title and does nothing for your career? That's why he unified with Stanley. Now, mind you, remember, Truth, how you doing? Glad that you tuned into the show. Absolutely. But Truth, remember, we covered this also when it happened live. He said after that second fight, or within that first and second fight with Karin, he said, I need to move up to 154. Summarizing the statement, my body, I can't handle 147 the way I need to. I've outgrown the division. To paraphrase, he said it in the ring, I've outgrown this division. I need to go up after the Shukajan fight. And then he stayed. He fought Stanionis, which again, we commended. Because he stuck to, okay, hey, I said I was going to try to become undisputed. I'm going to at least get unified. We said, okay, that's keeping track of what you had said in the past. Would you want to be a multi-division champion at 147 all the way up to 168? So we said that's fine. But you did say, in terms of Boots, you needed to get up there. You needed to get out of the division because you couldn't be the best version of you. That's why we were saying, okay, get up there, and we'd love to see you against Virgil Ortiz. 1 tune-up fight was acceptable. That was my statement. I said that, that's a quote from me. I said he can 1 tune-up fight, I'm probably fine with. 2 tune-up fights, way too much. Flip-flopping between 1 and 2 and staying down was the stagnation I said I hated with Boots and why everybody was frustrated with him, which was aptly so. And so the reasoning, I understood, or at least we talked about in the past. The reality now, he's up here. And we want it. The fans want it. People are willing to pay to see it. It's the most highly anticipated fight of the year. Just almost, or at least under the likes of Shakur Stevens and Teofimo Lopez, Ginger Nakatani versus Naoya Inoue, as well as now Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis, which everybody was clamoring to witness and see. One of the biggest fights, one of the 3 biggest fights of 2026 was to be made this week. And now it's a shame that it just ain't happening. Dude fought Lima, that's why I don't comment. Dude fought Lima. That's why I don't comment. He didn't fight Lima. Again, he fought Lima. First tune-up fight. Now he's going to fight against the big boys like we said he wanted to do. Or like we said he needed to do. Excuse me. I can't speak for what everybody else said outside in the boxing world. What I said was one tune-up fight is acceptable. Because I've always said that every fighter, if you're moving up to a new division, I want you to get one fight at that weight class against fodder, just to see how you can handle this new weight. And then now you got to jump into the deep end because your talent, if it still stays the same up here, okay, you're ready to go and vie for championships and start the road to dominance if you can do it. That's always been my sentiment. I ain't changing my tune on it because that's real. It's not an excuse. That's not me trying to just say it with Boots. We're trying to fanboy. No, I've said it for everybody. People have been watching this show. I said it for everybody. Lima was supposed to lead the Boots, or was supposed to lead to Virgil Ortiz, and then to Fundor, and then to Murtaza. And shoot, if we want to be completely honest, if we don't get that fight with Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz, well, let's get the fight with Murtaza going. Hey, come on. Let's not waste time.
We got some problems here.
If we don't get the fight with Virgil Ortiz, then Boots get the fight with Murtaza, take the I believe it's the IBF belt. See, it's either the WBA or the IBF belt. One of the two. Take the belt from Murtaza. After Murtaza's fight, which we assume he's going to win, if Virgil doesn't want the fight, and with Fundora already linked up with a fight with Keith Thurman, after this month, because Murtaza Bakram is fighting this month, after his fight, call him out. Go to his thing. These negotiations fail. Take Murtaza out. And if you take Murtaza out, well, then there's no question about that. Who in the world is A-side, B-side, all this stuff. Which again, that talk, I hate that talk. That talk is dead. I don't like it. There's a difference in trying to be, who is the bigger star. And then using A-side, B-side as a mean to demean somebody's cachet and ability. I don't do that. But if we want to play that game and say who's the A-side after that fight, well, there will be no question. It would be the likes of Boots Ennis. If you have doubts about it now, if you have doubts about who deserves what now in negotiations behind the scenes, well, there would be a doubt if Boots beats Bakram this year. In light of Virgil Ortiz the fight not coming to fruition. That happens. Make all the sense to me. I would love to see that fight. No question. Obviously, Virgil fought some bum at his first fight at 154, and that dude had I didn't know he had brain health. Shoot, I didn't know that. But yes, he did. He didn't fight somebody that was way up here as well in his first fight at the division. And so let me see. So you want Virgil to be on Boots' time. Essentially, I just want Virgil Ortiz to match the energy that we're now seeing Boots bring to the table. I'm not saying Boots was moving like this all the time. I'm saying now that Boots is wanting this work, and Virgil Ortiz, you've been saying you're as good as you are, which we believe. We just want you to match that same energy and do it in the way that you said you can do. That's all I want. That's all anybody wants. Because this is a fight that this is a true, as close to a 50-50 affair as you can make. 51-49. Whatever. 48 with a 2% on a draw. I don't care how you have it. It's close. It's competitive. It's exciting. Stylistically, it's intriguing. And it's a true litmus test that we've been saying each fighter needs. It's a real litmus test that we've been saying both Virgil and Boots needs. I don't get why that would be such a bad thing to take at this point in time when Virgil Ortiz, if he beats Boots, well, guess what? He can throw his weight around against his whole division. And there will be no questions there. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. And so, see, why does Virgil want 50-50 versus Xander, but 60-40 versus Boots? You can't tell me that Xander is a bigger star than Boots. He's not. Be clear. He's not. Even with the belt, he's not a bigger star. But again, he's a champion. So part of the box of being a champion, hey, it makes it so that you can, okay, maybe they're respecting the belt. But also, it's, in my opinion, really it's because of the fact that we see Ortiz, not just because of the fact that with the respect to the belt that Zayas has. We're seeing now, I just don't feel Oscar De La Hoya believes Virgil Ortiz can win this fight, which is why he's exorbitantly outpricing stuff like he is. I don't think he believes in Virgil Ortiz to beat Boots. Maybe everybody else. Zayas and others. He'll play that type of 50-50 game with everybody else who's a champion or even a legit star. He won't play that game with Boots. It seems like, because of the fact that I don't think he believes he can beat him. It does seem like it, because nobody who would want this fight and understands really, which as a promoter, I assume he does, the value of what a fighter is at a given point in time. Like, come on, we know that this should not be a hard fight to make. But it is Oscar. I'm not saying Virgil, it's Oscar that's doing this in a reckless manner, seemingly to me. And it's going, I'm telling you, it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire. Let me see. Armin, brother, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. Welch, I just want to tell you, I told you Dalton's going to KO. But yes, look, okay. All right, give me 5 minutes. Because y'all getting on my case. Yes, I know. Give me 5 minutes. And we're going to touch on Dalton Smith, KO and Matias. I know I got it coming. I know what's about to happen. I'm getting ready. I'm just trying to prep myself. We got a lot more comments in regards to the still with this whole Virgil Ortiz saga. So let me go through and divulge with them, and then I will I'll eat my crow. And I'll let y'all have it out against me. Because Lord knows, Lord knows, it's a, Lord knows I was, good fight, but I was wrong. I was dead wrong on that. Let me see. He wanted 50-50 with Zanya because it's food. Boots ain't food. Virgil wants the bigger split for his trouble. And again, I truly believe, I think Virgil will be fine with 55-45 or what Eddie Hearn was offering. But with the 5% or 10% differential to the winner. Or taxed on to the winner, whoever wins the fight. But like, I really do think it's because it's outside of that comment that we heard with Spence and Virgil saying he would love to fight Spence, which rubbed me the wrong way, absolutely. Outside of that, it's been everybody else around Virgil Ortiz has been talking. And again, the promoters messing up this entire stint of conversations. And it's like, they're going to go back to the drawing board and going to see what they can do meeting this week. So they haven't done, so hopefully we see it work out. Man, it's a shame. Let me see. I guess the timing isn't right. Both have to want it the same. There is no belt involved. Doesn't make sense. I can understand not wanting it now. I mean, here's my, what you're saying, Johnny, I completely understand. I see the viewpoint. But my issue is the fact, like I said before, we've seen fights wait too long and then they get ruined because somebody loses. And then the second stint of the issue I have, this type of reasoning, I don't think should apply to this fight, because we were saying both fighters need to prove something at this division for where they are. Mind you, Virgil, even if he loses to Boots, can still get a belt against other people. There's still more belt holders in this division outside of just Sebastian Fundora. There are. If we could see Virgil still get a title, even if we see the likes of Virgil lose to Ortiz. However, if I gotta be consistent with us saying this is the fight that is gonna be this was the litmus test and the very championship caliber that we have always been waiting on the likes of Virgil outside of Boachuk. Again, since he fought Boachuk, you get in the ring with. And if he won this fight, immediate championship opportunities will come his way. The same thing for Virgil, for Boots Ennis. Both of them are in the same boat where one win gets them almost a guaranteed world title opportunity. So I don't see where there's a waste of time. And even amongst the championship opportunities, you couldn't get a bigger monetary fight than this fight. You couldn't. Even against any other champions. So the reasoning I understand, it's just, I just don't agree. Because I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to get better than this. I really don't know if you're gonna get better than this, man. It's a shame. But let me see the way Boots is gonna be. Also, Tay, I almost skipped over your name. Tay, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in the show. The way Boots is gonna beat Virgil, he will need extra money because he will be out for a while. if that does happen, I mean, it'll just show the talent of what Boots Ennis is if that happens. But it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. But even with that being the case, I can absolutely feel that Boots may just put in the work against the likes of Virgil. I can feel that way. But what I can't feel and what I can't get around is that this fight should happen now. Everything else can be understood, but the main thing is still the main thing. This fight should happen now. It should happen now. And what happened? Let me see. Also, Just Do Boxing. How you doing? Good to see you. Peace to you. Just Do Boxing. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Al Booger as well. Thank you for tuning in as well. Thank you for showing up on this Thursday afternoon. Let me see. You saying no? The Golden War officially move on. As of this moment, perceived. I think we got to like 5 o'clock. Until official, okay, they're going to be moving on. It could be even sooner. But sometime between now and maybe an hour or two from now, he's going to start doing, De La Hoya is going to do negotiations with other boxers. If Eddie Hearn and Oscar can't come to an agreement, or if Eddie Hearn doesn't just outright agree to the 60-40 split with a 5% differential to the winner. But we're going to see how it goes. And if I'm looking right now to make sure I keep up with the news. But if anything else happens, please let me know. Absolutely. Let me see. I need a bird. What's going on with you? Thank you for tuning in. 60-40 is smart. If Boots is confident on winning, sign the contract. The position that Virgil is in right now would benefit Boots. Would it not? Would it not? Like I said, if Boots is so confident, sign the contract. Okay, so I see what you're saying. So you're saying that where Virgil Ortiz is right now, with the launching pad that he could be for Boots Ennis in his career, Boots should tell Eddie Hearn, go on and sign the deal. We'll beat him. And then subsequently afterwards, we'll get the residuals of every fight after that. We're going to be riding high in the dough. Because we're going to be able to control everything. And everybody will want to see me on a bigger stage than even I'm considered as a star right now. Take the risk. Do it. To put it in perspective, do what Usyk did. Usyk took every single demand that Tyson Fury gave him that was completely outlandish. 70-30 split it got up to. With Usyk being seen as the second best fighter in the division, one of the top 4 in the world at that point in time, and the biggest championship contender to Tyson Fury outright in a fight everybody was waiting to see. And he kept elevating it. Used retirement as a means to help fully push negotiation things. Gave in to every demand that Fury tried to wean in to make it so that this fight wouldn't happen. And now we see where Usyk is. Take that route. Take the cut in money. And you go and you destroy Virgil Ortiz. And now everything is your oyster. where you're both unavoidable, undeniable, too big to ignore, and can throw your weight around the division like no few others can in the sport of boxing. You can do it. That could be the thing. That might be the move. And if he did it, oh gosh, talk about guts and talk about glamour. I mean, shoot. The amount of props that would happen if Boots just said, hey, Eddie, just take the fight. That would be, hey, look, I'd clap it up for that if he did it. Because he's saying, yeah, I'll take the legacy. I understand the bigger picture. Let me get this done now. If we can see, let me see. Virgil put out a statement saying they're not moving on. Sound like he disagreed with. Thank you. Okay. I knew it. I knew it. I knew. See, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I told y'all. I knew it. I knew it. It don't sound outside of the Spence statement. It ain't Virgil that's been making this type of reckless noise. It's been Oscar De La Hoya and the manager. My gosh. I knew I wasn't crazy. The brother wants to fight. It's the people around him that are messing up what would be a guaranteed huge payday and the potential at a glory unseen. We are not, we talk about it all the time. We value legacy, don't we? Not on this channel. We value fighters trying to be great, pushing the envelope to attempt to stamp their foundation of glory and acclaim into the fixture of boxing history. We want that. We love that. We gotta have it. But it's Oscar and his promoters that keep on stifling this type of stuff, instead of just doing what is considered fair, at least reasonable. This is a perfect example of it. It's a perfect example of this same ignorant problem. And I can't stand it. But I'm telling you, it's Oscar De La Hoya. It's Oscar De La Hoya. And again, Tay, it's not the fact that understand. I use Usyk as an example because agreeing to a quote-unquote duck contract guarantees that the legacy that you're looking for will indeed happen because it's signed in stone. You may take the hit on the front end, but if you win this, not only do you still get paid a good chunk of money, though it isn't what you're worth, you would, if you win this, you will be in a position to never have this as a problem again. And to some degree, taking the hit might be worth it for the greater picture. Benavidez was willing to take the hit against Canelo, saying, I'll take the lower percentage. If I can get the fight, just give me the fight. I'll do whatever you need. Usyk did it. Terence Crawford just wanted to work, and he got to work. Terence Crawford, no rematch clause. Canelo's going to get the bulk of the money. I'm coming up to his division. There's no safety net for me to be able to come through and do something else if I lose. And he still said, all right, yeah, let's go. Run it, regardless. That, if it's a chance that if you take it, what's in front of you is so incredible. On the other side of what seems like a bad deal. If you do the move that values legacy more than just the money. Though I want fighters to get their money, understand. But it might have to be this type of bullet might have to be bitten in order to make it happen. It might have to be bitten. It might. Let me see. Sign it. Oscar's calling on Eddie's bluff. Sign the contract. He's not pushing the way. Yeah, exactly. If it gets to a point where it's just not gonna happen, he won't budge. Okay, fine. I'll beat you. And I'll make it a point that I'll make it so that Virgil Ortiz is never viable again. And now I've ripped everything away from you. And I'm also now able to demand 2 times as much money in whatever championship fight I can offer. Or I get to. And once I do become champion, because he will become a champion, everything is, the door's wide open. Sometimes you got, sometimes, like I said, like we talk about in boxing, take a punch to give a punch. walk through fire to turn into gold. Sometimes you got to take a lick. Sometimes you got to take a lick in order to be able to come through and then get what you need for your value. And this might be one of those times. It might be. It might just be. But let me see. The fight, yeah, but Eddie Hearn's not agreeing to that he's the zone. Most likely, look, if he did, I dare say I hope they do if all else fails, just because if a win, especially with the way this moving, giving me a lot of confidence that I don't think the people around Virgil think that Virgil can beat Boots, though Virgil thinks he can beat Boots, no question about it. But it's really starting to seem like everybody around Virgil Ortiz doesn't believe that Virgil Ortiz is going to be able to do what he can do. Because if he would, 55-45 would be would be phenomenal. That seems more fair than anything. With the percentage going to the winner, that means that looks like, it seems like as fair as you can make it. Outside of straight up 50-50. With 5% going to whoever wins. It's a shame. Let me see. Embarrassing. Oscar's trying to do a sophisticated duck move and dumb it to follow. Don't let him. Understand, this is not on Virgil. This instance is Oscar De La Hoya trying to overreach his length. He's overextending on his punch and making this fight. And if the counter comes back where he gets caught, it's going to be devastating. It's going to be devastating, man. It's going to be devastating. The Virgil had a lot of empty seats in Texas. Yes, he did. Okay, it was like, what, 6,000 to 8,000 just about. Again, I'm not disrespecting him. We're saying that from a leverage of what you can bring, with each of you not having a belt in this division, does make sense who would be considered the quote unquote the A side. Though again, I'm really tired of that type of conversation. And I always see the A side. He's not. He shouldn't be. But this should be a 50-50 fight. Nonetheless. But 55-45 is also incredibly fair from where they are both positioned as hierarchies in this sport and in this division from a recognition standpoint. Boots with the fame, Virgil with the experience and the bigger density of talent at 154. Almost cancel each other out. Almost does. And stuff like this is what, you know what, and this is a good point. Stuff like this is exactly why Ryan Garcia hates Oscar. Stuff like this is why a bunch of people hate Oscar. Why do you think Edgar Berlanga was going so hard at Oscar De La Hoya and other fighters? This has been the brother Canelo got problems with him. Berlanga got problems with him. Ryan Garcia got problems with him. A bunch of people got problems with him. And we starting to see why. We is starting to see why. Let me see. Cool JC, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show with us on today. Oscar tried to do the same thing with Ryan, but Ryan demanded the fight against Yep, and Ryan said, I want this fight no matter what you do. So, hey, it's like we've seen this move done before. We've seen it done before. Australia Curve versus Tank fight. The fight did like 1.2 million. And the biggest, I think I might be one of the biggest fights we've seen Oscar De La Hoya ever be able to put on outside of Canelo. And we saw what that did. Mind you, if Oscar De La Hoya was able to keep Ryan Garcia and had a good relationship, he could still have one of the biggest stars in the sport on his dossier. Like, I can't remember if his contract's up or if it's already out, but either way, it's like you're messing up big money. You are messing up big money. It's a shame. It really is a shame. Virgil needs to do like Ryan did and demand the fight against. I mean, apparently he already went on social media and was against everybody saying, yeah, they're moving on. He come out saying, no, we're not moving on. But, I mean, outright come out and say, hey, I want to fight. Again, and I've said, and again, we're about to jump into, and I've said this 3 times, but we just had so much good conversation. This will be the last point. We're going to jump into Matias versus Smith, and Matias getting knocked out. But the last thing on Virgil Ortiz and Boots, I have said this with other fighters before in the world of boxing. As much as a promoter is a promoter, as much as a manager is a manager, the fighter has the capacity to make the final say. Jaron, Jared Anderson, when he fought against Bacoli, when everybody said don't fight Bacoli, he said no, I want the fight. Make it happen now. And it got made. It went through and worked. Usyk controlled whether or not that fight happened against Fury by just agreeing straight up to a completely lopsided terms of engagement. But he did it. You as a boxer have the capacity to force your hand. Ryan Garcia and Tank. People said his own team, or Oscar De La Hoya and them, said you shouldn't take that fight. Guess what? He said, no, I want the fight. It's too big. We're both here. Let's make it happen. And he did it. And he's still one of the biggest stars in the world today, in the boxing world. He took his career into his own hands and made it so. What I want to happen, happen. We talk about what the power that Tank can have in his career. With how he is as a boxer, he can make any fight happen at the drop of a hat. Canelo can make the fight happen at the drop of a hat with just a word. No, I'm not budging. Make this fight and agree to it. Get around this type of threshold of agreement when it comes to money, and then we gonna make this fight happen. Straight. Because what the boxer wants, the boxer's gonna get. In the final say. Or else you risk losing your fighter. This is what we need to see Virgil Ortiz do. If our speculation is correct, that Virgil doesn't want this fight, and Oscar De La Hoya is the one that's messing this up, it needs to be that Oscar De La Hoya gets into a room with Virgil Ortiz, and Virgil said straight up, we running this work. Straight up he says we're running this work. Do that. But we got ourselves a fight. We got ourselves a fight. I would love to see. Absolutely no question about it. But let me keep on reading what you all got this. Not wrong statement. Let me go through and switch gears into the next topic of the session, which is the very, and I do mean very, a shocking development in the likes of Dalton Smith KOing likes Sabrina Matias. My goodness. My gosh. Oh, shoot. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? The indomitable force finally got put to sleep. Never thought I'd see the day. Never thought, look, I was wrong. I was wrong in every way. I never thought I'd see the day when we would see the likes of Sabrina Matias get completely knocked out by Dalton Smith. This ain't because Dalton Smith was a bump. Be clear. I picked Dalton Smith to get knocked out by Sabrina Matias, but not because I said Dalton Smith wasn't a good fighter. It was because of the fact that I hadn't seen Dalton Smith be able to fight at this type of pace that Sabrina Matias will be fighting at for 12 rounds, and eventually, especially when you have to work into a dogfight in the war, the punishment would get to him like it's gotten to every other opponent if it turns out that your power wasn't going to be able to affect the likes of Sabrina Matias and hurt her. That work rate was going to pick up and run forward. Because like I said, Sabrina Matias is a slow starter, like somewhat akin to Joe Frazier, though not nearly as great in the slightest. Never. But even still, from the standpoint that it takes him maybe a round to really get his engine going. And then once he gets going, but he's hard to stop. He's hard to stop. That's what we were saying when it comes to Sabrina Matias. And lo and behold, we saw what happened as we break down the fight. We saw what happened with Dalton Smith. Round one, coming out, landing a big right hand. Immediately start off the round and went to town trying to put damage and not just stick and move, but land some heavy leather on the head of Sabrina Matias, stamping his claim. Sabrina barely threw a punch. Again, it happened. We've seen it before. Smith won round 1. Subsequent hour was round 2. We saw Matias start to come in and open up. And then when Matias started to open up, we saw Smith immediately start to clinch. I got scared we were going to see a Devin Haney-esque type of performance. And that was horrifying. That was horrifying. I was scared.
We got some problems here.
I was truly scared. And that was going to be the sentiment that we were going to see a Devin Haney type performance where he goes through the second you try to engage against Smith, he was going to clinch up. And I was like, oh my. Kept on doing good work. Matias would get 2 or 3 shots off, clinching up again, trying to stop the momentum. It even looked like in some degrees that the heavy hands of Matias was indeed hurting Smith even early on, because we were seeing Smith not just with the clinching, but the face going through and grimacing. The cuts and swelling was coming up earlier on Smith from the shots that were landing from Matias. And as the rounds went on, yes, Dalton Smith was still doing good, but again, that clinching game plan kept on being kept on becoming more predominant, along with the still good boxing and moving that he was doing. Then the ref calls him out and says, hey, you're clinching too much. Dalton Smith starts to stand and bang with him. Gets away a little bit from the boxing movement and starts to stand and bang with him. And from that point on, we were seeing an absolute dogfight that was incredible. I mean, it was insane. It was ridiculous for the standpoint of both of them landing heavy shots. And it looked like that the same trap that we had seen Sabril make everybody else fall in, from the standpoint of the momentum of the fight starts to shift, everything starts to wane, and the damage starts to become incurred to where it starts to break you down. While Smith was still holding his own. We then get to, round 5? Round 5. Well, it was round 5, right? Yeah, okay, I'm checking my notes. It was round 5. We didn't follow. No, shoot, hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, yeah, I had to make sure nothing was playing. And but we finally get to round 5. And my gosh, once we get to round 5, we get to see Dalton Smith, after consistently landing heavy shots on Sabril Matias, that seemingly when Sabril Matias walking through, this brother finally lands a straight right hand that completely puts him out. And puts him out, as you can see right here. And we ain't gonna play no sound, we gonna play the video. As you can see, straight right, another straight right, knocks him down. No, right, gets some wobble. Sabril keeps on trying to fight, gets caught behind the head, and he goes down. And I was speechless. I was speechless. He was hurt, he was wobbly. Ref waves it off. You can argue that Sabril Matias, may have been, even though he was wobbled from the initial getting his footing down, may have been that, maybe he could have continued, but if the stoppage with how he was looking, I get it. Completely understand. And yeah, straight up knockout. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Dalton Smith showed me and showed the world, okay, we got somebody real at 154. Let me tell you this right now. Look at it. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang. And again, mind you, that type of punch placement he was doing all night long. He was landing. Oh, wait, hold on. Y'all didn't even get to see. Hold on. I didn't even get to transition into the thing. Hold on a sec. I didn't even get to transition into the final. Let me make sure this thing ain't playing. Hold on a minute. Everything should be muted. Everything should be muted. Is everything muted? Hold on. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to make sure y'all can see. Y'all can see the video. Well, y'all can see the audio, but y'all can see the video. I think the thing was on me. Tell me if y'all can hear this, or if y'all can't hear this. I'm trying to make sure. I got my stuff turned all the way down. I ain't trying to the audio, because I ain't trying to copyright stricken. But as you can see with this, now as you can fully see with the clip, as we go back and replay, because I was talking to y'all can see the knockdown. Goes through, 1-2 right on the chin, another one right on the chin, knocks his head back. Sabril Matias egging him on, still trying to fight through, gets caught in the back of the head, then goes down. I mean, goes down in a bad way. Goes down in a bad way. And then everything looks like it's going to be on the up and over. He tries to get back up, tries to recover, and then boom, he's down for the count. He's out of here. He's done. He's finished. I'm telling you right now, and excuse me if I had some audio issues with that clip, Excuse me, because I'm trying to make sure my stuff on my end is properly muted. But when looking at this fight, Dalton Smith showed up and showed out. Dalton Smith showed us we got a big heavy hitter at 154. Not 154, I'm sorry, 140. Dalton Smith showed me, hey man, this brother, not only is his power elite, but it's the fact his skill. This cat can box. I mean, he was putting punches together. His stuff was crisp and clean. His IQ from the standpoint of moving around the ring, trying to be safe, trying to stifle the momentum, and looking to still do damage all the while. Hey, look, y'all showed me. Y'all told me right. Y'all told me right. Y'all told me correct. Y'all told me correct that this was, this was something serious. This was something serious. Dalton Smith now, with this type of performance, taking out the boogeyman. Mind you, but the reputation of Will Matias still was that he might not be the most fundamentally sound brother, but you can't hurt him, you can't rock him, and you can't back him up. If you can outbox him, but that comes at a price of pain. That comes at a huge price of pain. With Dalton Smith not to be able to take the punishment, with Dalton Smith not to be able to knock him out, boxing what he did, this is one of the bigger threats in the division of 140 now. It's one of the biggest threats in the division of 140. And as a puncher, yeah, everybody better watch out. Everybody better watch out. As a puncher, everybody better watch out for this man. Everybody better watch out. Because you have to understand, to crack Matias, not late, but middle of the fight, with a clean shot on the chin, we've seen him hurt one other time before. That's it. And then he recovered and then went through and did what he normally does. To put him out? No, Dalton Smith put as the UK should be standing up and applauding. This man just put himself in a position to where from this fight, he could get a fight, which he put himself in a position where, hey, you can talk about him with Tio and Shakur as, okay, he might be up next for the guy to face off against him. He's also the guy you can now say he can unify against the likes of Gary Antoine Russell. You can do it. Richardson Hitchens, you've been calling everybody's name out under the sun. You better call out Dalton Smith. Because you got a belt. And you ain't been fighting nobody. You ain't been, for as much as you try to talk, you ain't done anything with anything. Still reeling from the fact that you missed out on $2 million. Make up for it and fight Dalton Smith over in the UK for the unification titles. Because this brother is, yeah, he's better than good. He's great. This guy's a great fighter. And he got power that now resonates with the globe of 154. Everybody at the top of this division. Buddy, there might be if we want to say the boogeyman got slayed, Dalton Smith after this fight might be a guy that everybody might be saying, maybe he might be the new boogeyman in this division. He could be. He could be. He could be. That's a boy. Talk about an incredible type of performance. I mean, y'all proved me wrong. Y'all said it was sharp. Y'all said he was great with his technique. You said he's got phenomenal hooks. You said he's got dogged power. I mean bludgeoning, not bludgeoning, blunt force trauma level power. And I said he might have that, but against Sabril, he's rendered others like that null and void. Now, look, the boogeyman got slayed. Somebody faced him in his own, mind you, he boxed Matias. Then he went through some adversity in the rounds 2 through 4 with Matias, more so rounds 3 and 4 with Matias. And then he went through and fought him in his own domain. Went head to head with him and beat him. Nah, that's something different. That's something different. I tell you what, that's insane. and new is that's more than a moniker, buddy. He's more than just a new champion, but that's a new boogeyman. That might just be a new boogeyman in this division. That's a bad dude. That's Dalton Smith. Dalton Smith. That's a bad man. And on top of that, going with the other side of the spectrum, Subliminal Matias, hey buddy, now that moniker of boogeyman title has gone away or is diluted due to this performance, it's shocking from the standpoint of not just with the loss of you getting knocked out and caught. It's the requisite notion. Where does he go from here? How does his cachet and marketability now stand up when he is no longer the unbeatable force that reigns over this division? When that fails, and what does he do? I was trying to loosen up my shoulder real quick. But when that fails him, what does he do? What can he do? How does this? Where does he go? Because it's gonna be a pretty decent climb up to the top to get back here, especially with all the allegations and all that stuff. And now this also ain't a good look because with all the stuff with the cheating allegations, the PEDs and whatnot, the taking Osterine, but it's under the violation limit, but it was still in this system. Everybody was getting on him for, which understandably so. Now this ain't a good look. This ain't a good look for what are you for real in terms of the story of who you are as a fighter. At this point, it's in the crossroads. You're gonna have a hard hill to climb, and you're gonna be a power puncher, but you're no longer gonna be a boogeyman that everybody might fear. So with that being the case, what is it that you can do now? Because you're gonna need to revamp. You're gonna need to regroup. You're gonna need to work. You're gonna have to, cause boy, you got. Yeah, it was. The biggest thing, your chin. Mind you, we've seen the same story with Joe Joyce, somebody who takes punishment consistently without a proper defensive game, with a high guard that isn't really as tight as it needs to be, and more so working to walk through shots more than anything. You going through, and you working in that type of environment, especially now at 140 with heavy hitters, facing up against one of the bigger heavy hitters in the sport or in this division. You do that, and now you got caught. Well, it shows me similar to what we saw with Joe Joyce. That chin might be in a bad state. That chin might be in a dangerous situation. That real estate, or rather that foundational structural integrity, might be gone. Might be gone. And if it is gone, well, it's going to be that's if it is gone, that can be bad. If it is gone, that can be bad. That can be really bad. Because now if Dalton Smith knocked you out and was the final nail in that brick to break it asunder, it ain't gonna take as much for others now in a division that's got some big punchers to do the same thing to you. So it's gonna be interesting to see how his walk continues to go in his career from this point on. But again, it's insane. It really is insane. But let me keep on reading what you all have to say. No, it's on wrong. Let me see. Christina Roberts, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for doing this show. Virgil don't really want the fight. Well, again, it's not. We've concluded it's not Virgil Ortiz that doesn't want it. It's more so Oscar De La Hoya that's on these talks. So, but again, we're going to revisit that conversation. Give me about like 15 minutes. We're going to get back to that, or rather 20 minutes. We're going to get back to that conversation with Virgil Ortiz and a bunch more as the show keeps on going. Let me see. Balbus, Y2J was a legendary performance. Yes, it was. Y2J, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. It was a legendary performance from the UK star. Absolutely. Love King. Virgil knows Boots is on another level. Clearly his team doesn't want that fight. And let's see, you took the words right out of my mouth. And also, how you doing, Love King? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. With us. Thank you for being with us excuse me, rather, on today. But yeah, it looks like his team doesn't want the fight. Smith, the body shots, set the finish. It did. It did. And again, his sharpness was one of the biggest things that helped to make that power so finally break through, have the ability to break through. Because it was landing clean shots all almost the entire, every time he threw, it was connecting. He was connecting hard. He was landing the better shots. He was landing the more telling shots. Even though Subriel, again, that normal work rate of the arm punches was looking like, okay, it might be able to turn this fight around. But finally, like I said, once that chin cracks, ain't nothing you can do. You don't want to test your chin. You want to have your chin as a last resort to be great, but you don't want it to be great all the time. Because if you have a great chin and we say it's great all the time, guess what that means? You're getting caught with stuff that you shouldn't be getting caught with. And you get and when that same structure of immovable object that is your chin, when that goes away, as a fighter like Matias, it can be dangerous. It can be very dangerous. But you're right, the body shot did help to work and hinder Matias. Also, don't forget the power of Dalton Smith. To a degree, was a factor in how Matias was fighting this fight. That power got his respect. Yes, Bill still fought like he normally fought. He still didn't change, he still didn't change his demeanor. But that power played a factor as to why this fight went the way that it went. Dalton Smith, he just showed us, hey man, this cat, you can outbox him, but it's incredibly difficult. To beat him the way that he beat him, you gotta box and be able to have real crack in your hands. Not Joseph Parker crack. Not that crack. Hold on.
Hey, look at this.
Don't have that crack. We don't want that type of crack.
We got some problems here.
I'll turn you into something else. But crack as in, you can, when you pop and you feel it, yeah, he's got it. And he showed it. And that's another big reason, on top of the body shots, as to why this fight was able to go in his direction. So again, credit to him and congratulations to the new champ at 154 in Dalton Smith. And I can't wait to see where he goes from here. Look for Gary Antoine Russell hypothetically next, or be him in line for Shakur and Tio as a potential unification opportunity. We're going to see how it goes and where it goes from here. But let me see. Paul, how do I say it? Is it Paul Sakurai? I think it's Paul Sakurai. If I'm saying it wrong, I do apologize. But how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We're so happy that you're here joining in and listening on our show on this Tuesday afternoon. Please keep on liking the stream. Keep on sharing the show. We still want to hear your chats in the comment section and your opinions throughout the show. And if you would like to support the channel, we got Cash App and PayPal. Links down below in the description. If you can come and support, would mean the world to me, would mean the world to all of us, to help make this show bigger, better, and grander, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. Yes, indeed. But we still got a jam-packed show for you today, and we still want to see what you have to say. So let me keep on reading you all's chats from Paul. Paul, I hope Boots and Ennis. I believe you mean Boots and Virgil Ortiz. I hope Boots and Virgil Ortiz figure it out and get in the ring while they're still young and in their prime and give us a super fight. I give it to Teofimo Lopez and Shakur credit for getting into the ring now. Absolutely. And this is phenomenal. Again, I'm going to come back to this chat, but absolutely credit to them because they're doing the right stuff. Let me see. Did you agree with the stoppage? I thought, though Matias was wobbly on the first stint getting back up, he has stabilized himself by the time the ref began to wave it off, though the count was at 8. Again, similar to what we see. You remember when Tyson Fury was looking up at the lights after he got knocked down by Deontay Wilder, and then kind of took a couple seconds and just laid there, and then finally got back up like the Undertaker? Not saying Subriel Matias was in that same state of, oh my gosh, he recovered that quick, but his eyes were open when he was on the ground. shook his head a little bit to get his cognitive stuff back. He got up. Yes, he was still wobbly, but it wasn't to the egregious sentiment that we've seen. Like there was a fight, just this week, where somebody was wobbling here, there, and everywhere, like a doggone Weeble Wobble toy, like they used to have back in the early 2000s, rocking back and forth the Kingdom Come, and Buddy couldn't stand up straight for to save his life. Every jab had this man buckled into Kingdom Come. Even the opponent was pointing to the ref saying, "Hey, buddy, hey, look, stop this. He's done. I don't want to hurt him anymore." So inevitably, he finally landed a 1-2 that the brother fell down like a sack of trees, and the ref still was counting a full count when the cat should have been stopped. You let that go through. It wasn't the same referee, but that happened. And then Subriel Matias getting up from the stand, and yes, he was shaky, but it wasn't nearly that bad. He was responding when you said, "Do you want to continue?" Yes. I think the fight could have been still made to happen. Matias was going to get knocked out regardless. I'm not mad at the stoppage. I'm saying that stoppage was something that could have kept on going. But Dalton earned that KO. Be clear. He earned that KO. I'm not taking it away in the slightest that he did not earn that knockout. Because he earned that knockout. Yes, he did. Oh, yes, he did. No question in my mind about that. He earned that knockout. He absolutely earned that KO. Without reproach. It just could have continued for one more potential. Let's see what you got. But then Dalton Smith most likely would have put him out clean that time. So I'm not mad, but a little bit early or a little bit premature from how Matias was responding. Just to me. And with the reputation that Matias had, some types of fear, okay, this man's a brick wall. Maybe it was just a one-time thing. All right. If he gets up and is able to respond and stabilize himself, we'll give him one more go. But didn't happen that way. And again, Dalton Smith got himself to that victory. So I'm not going to speak against it because, hey, he did his thing. He absolutely did his thing. It was great. Let me see. Dalton is going to get better. He's still young. He only has 18 fights. And that's true. He's only got 18 fights. And he's doing this type of work against a monster like Subriel Matias. So you better believe. I can't wait to see how this type of star potentially elevates, or this type of powerhouse potentially elevates into a star on a global scale at 140, where the division is laden to have a litany of quality opponents and quality fighters to make his presence not just felt, but very much feared. Because anybody could get Albert Puello, I think had was he the guy that beat him, or was he the guy that had a majority decision? I can't remember which one it was. But either way, people that can't, because Matias had lost before. No, it was a draw. It was a draw. It was a draw in that fight. But when Matias lost the first time in his career, even with that loss, it wasn't anything like what this was. This was different. This was a shock. Again, this was an upset. It was an upset. Not because Dalton Smith's bad. This was just straight odds makers had this as an upset. Understandably so. Because it's hard to see anybody beating Subriel Matias by putting him to sleep. It's hard to see that. Yet it happens. So I'm like, I can't. I say credit to him. Credit to him. And look, with this type of power that was shown, saying that he can knock out or hurt everybody in this division is absolutely true. If you can knock out Subriel Matias, you can hurt anybody at 140. No question. No question. That's not it. I'm not going to fight that statement. Because that's real. That's real. If you got enough pop to knock out Subriel Matias, you got enough pop to knock out anybody else in this division. You have enough. You have enough. And if your boxing ability gets even better, it will add even more to the arsenal of danger that you are. It'll add even more to the arsenal of danger that you are as a boxer. And my gosh, I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. It's exciting. It's so exciting. But even still, we got more stuff to talk about in the world of boxing real quick because we got to make sure we can make it to the championship rounds. So we're going to quickly delve into the world. One more news tidbit, which is Garcia and Barrios is officially done. Yes, we've been talking about this fight, saying it's going to happen, and now officially it's confirmed for February. That's right. No more speculation. No more potential outcome. Everything is now set in stone. And the man who's one of the most polarizing figures in sport now has his date with potential destiny to become a champion on February 21st of this year. As you can see, as we switch to the old picture and picture. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The amount of times we have all been sitting here looking to have Garcia take the reins and take, to some degree, I want to say, his career seriously in a way that we hadn't seen since the Tank fight. Because again, he was able to do social media, but he was more dedicated to the gym. Now we've had a bunch of questions about his dedication, about his mindset. If he's back to the Ryan Garcia that not just was a big star or was a darling of this sport, but also seemed to have a more fervent drive, this could be his opportunity. And again, I'm saying it now, Barrios should be able to beat, or should be able to get beat by Garcia. That's a weird way of saying Garcia should win. Garcia should win. I'll say this up front. Garcia should win this fight. That does not mean it's going to be a guaranteed thing, and even more so than that, that does not mean that this can't be a situation where we see Garcia fall back into the bad habits that caused him to be such a questioned star in his career over the course of the last couple of years. Post, again, the Devin Haney situation. Post the Gervonta Davis situation. We need him to understand he is in the same boat from the standpoint of career trajectory that we are seeing and have complained about with the likes of Boots, with the likes of Tank, and others. But it's a little bit different. Though it's not in the same situation of you need to fight everybody that you can, because again, we've seen Ryan Garcia fight big names. We've seen him fight and don't duck smoke. We're talking about the production now has got to start matching what your star power is. And at this point in time, it ain't. And it's got to get there. It's got to get there. It has to get there. And it has to start now. And Barrios was on the verge of losing to Pacquiao, which I think he did lose to Pacquiao, even though it was a draw. You should be able to come up here with younger, more youthful, athletic ability, hand speed that you have, and a size difference that isn't nearly as expended on as we saw with Pacquiao versus Barrios. You should be able to get it done. You don't gotta go through the same holes that we saw Tank have to go through trying to fight against Barrios from the standpoint of a size mismatch. You got the hand speed that it's on par with the likes of Manny Pacquiao from the standpoint of that check hook. And it's your punch speed all around. You have a reach that can go and mitigate that distance that Barrios will want to keep with those heavy shots. And you got the power that you can put them out. But you have to get, I've been saying it before and I'll say it again, you got to get it done. If you are Ryan Garcia, you got to get it done. Because it's now, just like with everybody else, it's now or never. It's now or never. Get it done now or don't get it done at all. Because if you can't beat Barrios for a title, it's going to be hard pressed for me to say that you can get a title outright. Because this should be the stepping stone that finally catapults you into, okay, you have that rustic experience now and know what it is to be a champion, to make your career the best it can be. If not, Well, might not ever happen. We're going to find out, nonetheless. But regardless of which, now we can transition over into the world of the championship rounds. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to work. It's time to shine. It's time to make this show yours to dictate and control. 30 minutes to an hour for the whole of this show to talk about anything in reference to anything else inside or outside of this sport, going back to other chats and conversations that we can discuss, or talk about things, whether it's in boxing, NBA, NFL, all of that, movie, sports, television, video games, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. You can enjoy. You can be a part of the conversation. Put your stuff in the chat down below. And then if you still want to support the channel, Cash App, PayPal, links down below, as well as super chats, super gifts, and whatnot. If you can support and want to be part of the conversation, would mean the world to me. Absolutely. But again, with all that being said, before I go into the, while you're getting your questions together, as we're in the championship round, so you can talk about whatever you want to discuss, going back to Paul's comment, which I did want to go and delve into, now that we got a little more leeway to go and move through the ringer of competition in terms of the realm of talking about the sports world. We are looking at this whole entity of a fight as a example that is being set by Shakur and Tio. Why is it not getting followed by the rest of the boxing world? More specifically by other fighters like Boots and Virgil. Because we talk about marinating fights for too long. Prime versus Prime. Tio and Shakur are getting on, and Tio and Shakur could be a trilogy. They're young enough to where it could be a trilogy. Years down the line, it can be a trilogy where both of them are fighting against each other to make it happen. We're seeing, there was another clip I wanted to play as well. We're seeing claims, and we'll talk about, well, I'll say that for later on in the week. We're seeing Inoue or Inoue and Nakatani, while they're both in their prime, getting it on. We're seeing Benavidez and Zerto getting it on at cruiserweight while they're both in the best of their careers from an age standpoint. We're seeing Keyshawn Davis go up to 140, looking to aim for 147 quick and in a hurry. We're seeing a litany of other names and talent coming through and working to thrive while they are up and coming or just in the peaking of their prime, which is what it should be. Why is it that this isn't the case all the time? Well, again, it's the risk and reward concept. The potential of the loss, the potential of the momentum derailment. But in actuality, you win, or even if you lose, you put up a good display. Well, guess what? You'll still get a following. We'll still care. If Isaac Cruz is not enough of an example of what can happen to you if you take on tests while somebody else is working to be great as well, and both of y'all are in the best of your prime, if that isn't a perfect example of what can happen and how great you can be, I don't know what else is. I don't know what else can be done. Because it's like you're missing out on your own ability to paint a greatness level. Mind you, you can lose this fight, get a rematch, and win it. You can make it happen. We're seeing undisputed championships left, right, and center. Why is it that this one specific fight is just so hard to make happen? And why doesn't Oscar have the faith in Virgil Ortiz to be able to win? Why doesn't he? Why is that the issue? Why is that the problem? And it's a shame because it should be a problem. But yet, yeah, it's the case, and I can't stand it. But my gosh, man, credit to Shakur and Tio for doing what should be done in boxing. Hopefully, we see Virgil and Boots do the same thing. But man, it should be a lot easier than this. I promise you, it should be a lot easier than this. But let me see. Barrios might school Garcia. Yep, there is a real possibility that Garcia can get beat by Barrios. Barrios is better well-rounded, schooled fighter. Now, Barrios, how do we say this? Barrios is a better fundamental fighter. Yeah. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to beat Garcia unless Garcia, again, hasn't changed from Rolly Romero. If it's the same Garcia that Rolly Romero was facing off against when Rolly Romero was beating on Ryan Garcia, excuse me. I don't know why I blanked it. But if it's the same Ryan Garcia that Rolly Romero beat up on, that Rolly outboxed, that Rolly got knocked out on, that Rolly knocked down, excuse me, post surgery, because again, he had surgery, then this is going to be a situation where Ryan Garcia might have to just go back to the drawing board, straight up. Because you shouldn't, with who Ryan Garcia is, it should not be that Barrios should be able to outbox you. He can box, don't get me wrong. But it should not be that Barrios is able to outbox you. It shouldn't be. It should not be. With the style that Barrios fights in, with how Barrios has gone about his entire career, I should not be seeing Barrios outbox you. Just like I shouldn't have seen Rolly Romero outbox you. Because we haven't seen, as a athletic fighter, absolutely, we've seen all that stuff with Rolly, but as a technical fighter, it wasn't his best forte. It never was. It never was. If we see that happens against Barrios, Garcia's got to go back to the drawing board fully. Fully. Absolutely. Fully. No question. Fully. Retool. Because this, whatever's going on with him right now, it just ain't working. It just ain't working. Let's see, but while Bakram finally gets to fight the January whatever, yep, Bakram is finally going to be fighting in this month. I believe it's in. No, I thought it was 20. No. It is 31st. It is 31st. Excuse me. So yeah, he is fighting, and crazy enough, if we see Bakram actually get active, who's to say we don't see Bakram versus Fundor? Hypothetically, if these negotiations keep on coming through and keep on messing up, and we get stuff where everything just stifles at 154, which it might just stifle. Bakram, if he wins decisively and wins in 3 rounds, hypothetically he wins in 3 rounds, 4 rounds, no damage at all, fresh as a daisy. People who want, I can't even say he's a low risk, high reward, because he's a high risk and is still trying to book himself a star. What if we see Bakram versus Virgil Ortiz? What if as much as we can say Boots fight Bakram and that fight goes through and makes it happen, what if we see, we just saw Ortiz face off against Lubin. Okay, you want a championship opportunity? You want to show that you're on top of the world? What if we see Bakram knock out Kelly? Then afterwards, Virgil Ortiz calls him out, and then he gets his championship opportunity. And now it's Bakram Ortiz in May? For Bakram's title? An absolute firefight? And if Virgil beats Bakram, all of a sudden, that's insane. Or is that going to be too big of a risk? And not enough reward for somebody who's a star. But again, you're doing the same thing with Boots. It's a slippery slope with what's going on with this whole conversation. From the standpoint of how Ortiz, or rather how Oscar De La Hoya is moving. It's a shame. It's a real shame. But that's the road I wouldn't be mad at seeing. I wouldn't be mad at seeing that at all. Let me see. While Ortiz and Boots waste time, you're absolutely. Bakram is going to hurt Kelly. He is. Oh, it's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be, get ready. If Bakram is as dangerous as we can see him be, he is going to destroy Kelly. He's going to destroy him. And he better. He's had a year off to potentially go into whatever secluded space he needed to go to while he couldn't get no fights to turn himself into an even bigger menace to society. He can do that. He can do it. But will he is the question. Has he gained any new skills? Has he garnered any new technical ability? Has he all of a sudden revamped his own fighting caliber to add new weapons to the trade, to be an even more decisive, destructive weapon. There's a litany of things that can come through and cause Bachram to be an immovable object at 154 that causes everybody to wince in pain just at the thought of it. I would love to see that take place. I would love to see it happen. But the one thing I know is, like, it's all on him. And like I said previously, it's on Bachram after Kelly to make some noise and call out anybody that he can. It's on him. Because if he doesn't do it, because the promotions ain't done it, his promoters ain't done it, managers ain't done it. If he wants to fight and get this chance to really run roughshod over 154, and people still think he's too big of a risk, well, guess what? Start calling people bumps. Start calling people out. Talk yo talk and make yourself undeniable for the globe to see you as, okay, everybody now just wants to see this fight just because this one dude's making so much noise. Go to Adrian Broner route if you got to. Go to Teofimo Lopez route if you got to. Just call out anybody that you can. Because you got too much of a quality talent to be this much of a stagnating career movement, especially when you're already not a spring chicken necessarily in age, if you get what I'm saying. But let me see what you all got to say. Even still, Ryan, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. We appreciate you tuning in and listening on the show. Thank you all for showing up and showing out on today. I think Kelly will win most of the fight. I have Bachram stopping him late in the 11th. I got him getting knocked out in the 7th. I got him getting the 7th or 8th round. I got him getting knocked out in terms of Kelly getting knocked out by Bachram. No, hold on 1 minute. Yeah, I got Kelly getting knocked out in 7 or 8 rounds by Bachram. And again, I don't think it's going to be close. I really don't think it's going to be close. I really don't think it's going to be a close fight. Because, again, now this is hope. It's hope now. It's hope that we're going to see the likes of Bachram have a even deeper, dangerous bag at 154 now with this year-long layoff. That's the hope. That's the goal. That is the going interest into what we can see this fight be. But will it happen? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. But if it does, all the better for it. If it does, all the better for it. And I can't wait to see it. Absolutely. Because I'm all guns blazing. For me, it's all guns blazing. For me, it's all guns blazing. I want to see this fight happen. Because I want to see where Bachram is right. And if he's still as dangerous as I think, it's gonna be great. Let me see. I love you. 281. Hey, I love you too. Appreciate you joining on the show. So glad you're with us. I want to see Bachram versus Boots at this fight. And look, that's another fight. I'm telling you, we said that earlier. That's a fight to make. That's a fight to make. That's a fight to make. That's absolutely a fight to make. And if Bachram is as big of a boogeyman as we see him as at 154, Boots beating him, though it might not have as much of the immediate jolt as it would have with Virgil Ortiz, it would still be so substantial that, oh my gosh, he beat that cat and took his belt and did it hypothetically in dominant fashion. All of a sudden, Virgil Ortiz is looking not as fearsome anymore. It would be the case. If we see that Virgil Ortiz and Boots doesn't happen, and Boots gets Bachram instead after Bachram's fight in January, and then Bachram wins his fight, fights Boots, and Boots beats the brakes off of him, all of a sudden, going into that fight with Virgil Ortiz ain't going to have no leverage. Oscar don't have no leverage. None. Oscar ain't going to have no leverage. That's what I'm saying. Oscar De La Hoya needs to take this fight now. Because if you let Boots get any more momentum outside of this fight as the next fight, your power that you're trying to throw around, your leverage that you're trying to garner, your ability to get money, as well as to have the public buy into your fighter, it's going to be washed away.
Hey, look at this.
It's going to be out the window. It's going to be out. It's going to be out the window if that is the trajectory that this goes through. Because Virgil, I'm telling you, you couldn't tell me that if this fight didn't happen with Virgil and Boots, and we get Boots and Bakram, and and Boots decimates Bakram, that you're gonna look at Boots and Virgil Ortiz, and you're gonna have the same level of not just hype, but of belief in Virgil Ortiz as you do right now. You won't. I won't. Because you can argue that the biggest thing about Bakram, yes, is the power. Virgil is a better all-around fighter. Sure, absolutely, no question there. I'm with you there. But from the standpoint of danger, we're not going to look at Virgil in the same way with this specific fight. If we see Bakram and Boots first and Boots decimates, we're not going to see it the same way. Virgil's not going to have that same, the conversation. Look, mark my words. This fight doesn't happen with Boots and Virgil Ortiz. And the fight with Bakram happens instead later on in the year. The conversations around Virgil Ortiz, specifically revolving Boots, are going to change drastically from what we were having just a couple months ago. Just 3 months ago with Virgil and Boots. It's going to change drastically from what people feel now. It will change mightily. Because you'll see the public start to say, oh gosh, yeah, no, Virgil, you ain't got a shot. You got Bakram level power, and Boots just walked through Bakram and potentially walked through his power as well. Yeah, you ain't got no chance if that's what we see. We say Bakram, we think Bakram is a Terminator that can take a punch and that can dish it out and got hand speed. You made him obsolete with hand speed. You cracked his chin and you put him to sleep. Dare I say in the same way that Bakram put Tim Tszyu out? People gonna be looking at Ortiz and be like, you know, this fight might not be as close as we may think. All because the reputation was able to be built up off of another dominant force's name. All because there's so many, that's why I said there's so many people in this division that you can throw a rock in a pond and you're going up against a real dog. And you went against one of those dogs, one of those 8 dogs in the division. Guess what? That will change the perception of not just hierarchy, of how people feel about you in the world of 154, but from the sense of the global appeal of who you are as a fighter compared to other fighters if they fought against you. It would shift. Because, buddy, you be the real dynamite level person. You did. You really did. So it could change. Absolutely. Let me see. Really looking forward to Smith's career. He deserves a big homecoming. Yeah, he does. Like I said, hey, look. Don't forget. We can see him versus any champion in his hometown after this win. I would love to see. I'd love to see it. I would love to see that fight. Shoot, him versus Hitchens. Him versus Hitchens over in the UK at 140 in Sheffield would be great. I would love it. That would be phenomenal if that did take place. Let me see. Bakram would get beat so bad by Boots. Let's not do it. No, I'm saying he would. I'm saying he would. I'm not saying that Bakram is a better fighter than Boots. I'm saying a performance, because there's so many game, real big threats in multiple different facets at 154. All Boots needs to do is beat one of them, and the inkling of favoritism swings mightily in his favor, to the point that now this negotiations that Virgil's trying to do with Boots will all be null and void, because now there's no way people will see Boots as a smaller star, or even dare I say, even a worse fighter than Virgil Ortiz. And it will no longer be a 50-50 split in the thinkings of the public eye, at least in my estimation. If that fight happens, because of what we could see for somebody who was seen as, again, a real boogeyman level threat. People don't want to fight him. They don't. He's a dangerous brother. But he's not better than Boots. All Boots got to do is, if he does get Virgil, beat him. Next thing you know, people going to look at this fight with Virgil Ortiz and Boots in a very different light. Whether it's fair or not. Because Bakram is that much of a dangerous figure. You see how we're talking about Dalton Smith right now. Well, after he beat Matias. Imagine that turned up to 11. That's what's going to be if he fights Bakram and beats him. That's what it be. Maybe a big unification bout. Dalton said he wants all the belts. Yep, unification is what I'm looking for Dalton up next. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kelly's fast, and he won't stay in front of him like Tim Super. Yeah, but again, it's if you don't got the power to hurt Bakram, and Bakram's got enough hand speed, especially with that, again, deceptive hand speed, that you may think you're going to be able just to box with him, and you can dart in and out. You can get caught clean. You can't. And it won't be funny. But we could also see him be able to track you down and walk you down. If he shows that he's got that ability in this fight as well, going up against Kelly, yeah, Kelly's going to be he's going to be in a bad state. He might not be, it might be a little longer to get that type of KO, but the KO, I think, is still going to happen nonetheless. Absolutely. Let's see, Bakram knows that, and he's been preparing for this fight. Yep, absolutely. He will hunt Kelly down in the ring. I hope so. I really do. I hope so. And I do hope that's the game plan. That's why I'm saying I hope he has retooled his game since going into this whole situation of isolation. But for a year, he ain't had nobody to fight. And we wanted to see him fight. So it's a shame. Rather, he had to wait this long. But hopefully we'll see a better fighter. Bakram is a pressure volume fighter. Yes, he is. Yeah, plus he has some power. And so hopefully we see this fight be the, I don't want to say, it's talk about the magnum opus, but the kind of calling card of, okay, yeah. The what? Oh, I thought something was going on outside. But the magnum opus of Boots, not Boots. Why I keep thinking Boots? The magnum opus, or the beginning of the magnum opus, of Bakram's real danger level at this division. So I can't wait to see how it goes. None the less. What even said, we got over in the chat. Like with Boxer. Hey, hold on, Boxer. How you doing? Hey, buddy. Glad you're back. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. If you didn't know, we got monetized while you were away. So we appreciate you tuning in on the show. We're glad to see you back again on our airways on today. What's up, bro? What's up to you, man? How you doing? I'm so happy that you're good, guys. I'm trying to make sure I'm catching your chat, so I'm gonna start reading a little bit quick. But I appreciate you tuning in on this Tuesday afternoon to the Watch Report. Can't wait to see what you got to say on the whole of the day. Virgil's manager says that they are down to still talk to Boots Ennis. Negotiations are. Oh wait, Virgil's manager says they are down to still talk to Boots Ennis. Negotiations are still completely done. I think it mean completely not done from the standpoint of it's still happening. So which is good. Which is good. Because this fight's too big to not happen. We want to see it. We do want to see it. Absolutely. It's time for 154 division. Excuse me. Let me turn that sound off real quick. Let me see. Love, it's time for the 154 division to get busy, and it all starts now. Who's the best? We need to find out in 2026. That's the biggest. We were saying that all 2025. All 2025. Hey, we were saying. We were fervently saying that we wanted to see who was the best up here at 154. At super welterweight. We've been begging for this. Because I have said consistently, this is the deepest division in boxing. No doubt. From a danger perspective, this is the most deplorable, not deplorable, that's the wrong word. This is the most most damaging division in boxing in a good way because everybody can do damage. Everybody can crack anybody. Everybody. There is not a name on this list that can't be beat by somebody below them or above them. Fundora ain't safe. Keith Thurman ain't safe. Majimov ain't safe. Tim Sue wasn't safe. As we saw when he got put out. We said the Boots ain't safe. Virgil Ortiz ain't safe. Buckram ain't safe. Adams ain't safe. Everybody is a threat to everybody. And everybody got a chance to beat everybody. That's what I'm banking on for the globe to see and to witness, everybody to have on their pedestal of this division makes the boxing world move and shake in a way that nobody else can. That's what I want. That's what I'm desiring. That's what I'm hoping and praying for. And don't forget, if it gets to a point that we see Devin Haney outgrow 147, he joins these ranks as well. The fluidity of movement can come through and be impeccable for anybody. It's a joy to watch what this division can become if and only if we see this division actually become that thing. Hopefully we see it. My gosh, man. It's boy, it's a frustrating sentiment because I love 154. And that division alone can make 6 fights that would be some of the most exciting of the year, straight up, against each other. They just got to move. And again, the domino starts, mark my words, the domino starts with 2 things, Boots and Virgil and Fundora and Thurman. It starts with Boots and Virgil and Fundora and Thurman. After those 2, everything else will fall into place. After that gets sorted out, everything else will fall in line. Once we get those 2 fights done, everything else will sort itself out. I guarantee you. I promise you. I promise you. Because the hierarchy will be set. The notions of who's the best will be done. The A-side, B-side conversation won't be a conversation anymore. Everybody will know where their place is, know what they're fighting for, know who they're fighting against, and know what they're trying to do. It won't be a question. It will not be a question. Hence, all these negotiation tactics, all of these issues, all of these problems won't be a problem anymore. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I promise you. Promise you won't be a problem. Won't be a problem anymore. But let me see. Bob Bowman's gonna stop Kelly late, but lose most of the fight. Ray Murtala is going to dominate Andy Cruz. Wow, dominate and stop him in the 8th round. Whoa, whoa.
Hey, look at this.
Whoa, that's a bold claim. That's a bold claim, sir. That's a bold claim, monsieur. That's a bold claim, monsieur. Andy Cruz, the slick and potentially got some decent crack to him as well. Puncher in the Cuban style is going to get rolled over by like some Murtala. That's going to be interesting. Like I said, as time goes on, we're gonna look into that fight more fervently. So we're gonna like I see you're gonna do film study. I'm gonna look more into the film as well because I don't know about that. I got Andy Cruz winning. I truly do. But it's out of desperation because he's got to win because it's now or never. It is now or never that he gets that done. Because if he doesn't, boy, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be really bad. But let me keep on reading. What you all gotta say? Virgil stops Boost. Let me see. Ivan Ramirez, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. So happy that you're here with us on today. We appreciate you joining in with us on our live. Like you say, Virgil stops Boots. That it's not out of possibility. But again, it's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. As in the fight's got to happen. Before we can say anything, I don't care how you may feel about Boots versus Virgil. I don't care how you may feel about where that fight will end up with from the standpoint of who's going to have their hand raised. It's about before you can have your hand raised, you got to actually get in the ring and work. Do some work. make a fight. Because if you don't, I'm telling you, it's gonna be a bad day. From the standpoint of you're eating away your own cachet, and I don't want that absolutely. Let me see. That's crazy. I Murtala. I think Murtala's gonna be a top 10 pound guy soon. Okay, yeah, I think we're just on different ends of the spectrum. Not because I don't think Murtala isn't a great fighter. I just think that Andy Cruz is gonna actually be able to live up to his perceived potential of a big pedigree and actually get a championship around his waist. Because he has to. But that's me. If he doesn't, hey, look, we're going to look at Murtala and say, hey, man, you got it. Straight up. But I don't know. I don't think I have him as a pound fighter at this point. I don't think I have him as a pound fighter at this point. As even in the inklings of that. Because, again, he's got to fight with the likes of Shakur and others. And Shakur is outside of my top 10, only under the likes of Canelo and Tio. And if he beats Tio, he takes Tio's spot, and depending on how he beats him, he'll move up even more. So it's like, yeah, we're going to see how it goes. Let me see, a boxing nerd. I strongly disagree Boots will be moving, or excuse me, I strongly disagree. Boots will be a moving target that hits like a brick, and that's what I think he's going to be in this fight. If we take anything away from the Stanionis fight, as well as how we saw Madrimov and his movement, cause Virgil Ortiz to, again, not be the same immediate just bulldozer of a puncher for the first half of the fight. Like I said, similar to the same game plan that Terrence Crawford had to do when he fought Madrimov. Being a mover is very effective. Being slick, using footwork, having the wherewithal to move around to get stuff where it needs to be, or rather to move around to get not just new angles, but also to get a better cognitive ability to control the opponent, or rather to make the opponent think what you want them to think. Do what you want them to do. Go where you want them to go. Frustrate them and cause them to be in a bad situation. Because unlike with Madrimov, Boots can run without getting tired. Not run. Boots can move. Because Madrimov didn't run. Boots can move without getting tired. Boots can move his legs and box with the best of them, as well as can crack you with counters that will put you on in a despicable way. Horrible. That movement is going to be one of the biggest things that makes this fight so intriguing, because we don't see Boots and Virgil just stand and bang, and we do see Boots have to work with the boxing of, if we see Virgil have to work with the boxing of Virgil Ortiz, and it's better than what we saw against Stanionis, that body tech is going to be, it's going to be something. From Boots. Crazy enough, not from Virgil, but from Boots. The body attack is going to be something. And, Rhoda, I see you right now. Virgil will eat up the body. He will. But you also got to understand, we're dealing with a counterpunch, or a puncher with the ability to counter, that he can get and take advantage of your incentive to go downstairs and try to stop my movement. That's the thing. Boots Ennis has enough reflexes and speed that if you try to go downstairs to the body, he will make you pay, as well as make you miss. He will make you pay and make you miss. It's crazy enough from the standpoint of trying to fight against Boots. Okay, you can slow him down. It's not as easy as it sounds, though, because with Boots, it's an uncanny ability. Even if you try to hit him downstairs, he can't avoid that. He can't. Or he'll straight up say, okay, we'll trade for trade. And I know you want to go downstairs. You threw that hook one time too many times. And now I'm going to bait you. Come on in. I'm going to leave myself exposed. Boom. Uppercut straight up the middle. And potentially and then afterwards follow with body shots of his own, which can be potentially demoralizing. Mind you, he puts Stanionis down with body shots. He is a very good body puncher. Be clear, Boots is as much as we laud Virgil Ortiz with his work to the body, his relentless pressure, and all that stuff, Boots is as well a very destructive body puncher. He'll rip downstairs. And he'll rip down there faster. He will. He will. So it's going to be interesting to see how it is. One thing with Boots is that he trusts his chin way too much. Again, he does. If he's gotten better since the fight with Stanionis. Fought Shujan first and second time. Fought David Ebenezer. Trusted his chin oh so much. Went through and fought Stanionis. We saw better defense than we had seen of his entire career. We did. Countering. Using head movement to get out the way more fervently. This was against a brother who we said he can punch in Stanionis at 147 when he unified. And he was actively, fully getting out of the way of stuff, blocking and anticipating shots, being defensively responsible in a way that we have been begging him to for over a year. Then he fights against the likes of, what was his name, Lima. And yeah, he bulldozes him. He goes and bum rushes him out and gets him out of there. But he also didn't really get touched a lot. Though it was only, though it was only roughly 2 minutes, a minute 59 into the first round, he still went through and Bod, we got out the way and then boom, went to work. He does. For Virgil Ortiz, he doesn't need to stay in the pocket. For Virgil Ortiz, he shouldn't stay in the pocket. Because he got the power that you can still hurt Virgil without having to be in the pocket. You can move around the ring. You have the length where you can use your jab. You got the speed. You can react. You can move and punch before you can react and still get out the way. If you want to be a straight up counter puncher, guess what? You can do that too. You don't have to go head down, chin up, or rather chin up, face to face, hands up, and we trade one punch for another punch. You don't got to do that. You really don't. And he's shown he hasn't. He's shown he's garnered better defensive fundamentals since his fight with Stanionis, as we saw in that championship fight. So we can give credit to say, okay, there is something that is improving. But again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect. Which, against Virgil Ortiz, I'm not saying he has to be, but boy, he better be a whole lot more substantial with his ability and keep himself in check. Because if he don't, and he gets reckless, yeah, it'll be bad. It will be very, very bad. But let me keep on reading what you all have to say. When Boots gets into a fight, he gets tired, slow down. Virgil thrives in chaos. And so let me pose this question. Are you all saying that Boots is going to be vulnerable with getting tired because of the output of his own offense, or because of the offense of the opposition? As in, Virgil Ortiz. Are we saying that Virgil's going to wear him down and he won't be able to fight in the later rounds? Or are we saying, what's going on with Kim? Second time, what's going on with, I don't know what's going on with Kim. But are we saying, like what is the reasoning for Boots is going to tire out? Because I haven't seen him, I've seen him get frustrated. I've seen him get annoyed. I've seen him be lackadaisical defensively. I've seen him not have the ability to motivate himself when a fight seems to be, just get over with. I haven't seen him get tired. That's the one thing I haven't seen. So I'm a little bit confused on where that sentiment is, but if you can explain it, hey, I'm all ears for no question. Honestly, Majimov was sick in the fight against Verti. Yes, he was. That's why in the latter part He slowed down. He was supposed to fight Boachuk a month before, but pulled out of that fight. Yep. Okay, yeah, you're right. I do remember boxing. No, you were right. And the same issue lingered into the Virgil fight, and he almost pulled out of that fight. And then he still took it and still put it. He still did his best, absolutely. But again, he waned as time went on. Absolutely. Madrimov is the only one at 154. I can see beating Boots. Woo. Because of the movement that is akin so fervently to Shukajan, but with the added level of power with that movement could make him difficult. Yeah, I can see that as one. Again, I've called Madrimov for Boots specifically. I've called Madrimov an X-Factor fighter. That if you may not think he is a better fighter, but Madrimov can be in a bad way. Oh, excuse me, Boots can be in a bad way when people don't expect it. If he fights against Madrimov, he can't. Because that stylistically, that's a fight that can be. That's a fight that can be bad. Let's see. Virgil breaks too many rules against Southpaws, and it's gonna show when they fight. Yeah, that does happen sometimes as well. Yeah, he does break a lot of rules. I'm not gonna lie. Against Southpaws. But he's good enough that he can do that. That's another thing. That's another reason. Like when he does, he's able to do that because he again is that talented and has the tools to make it viable. So, can we be as mad at him for that? Kind of we can, because I am a big fan of being able to do the right stuff at all times. So, but if you can break the rules and it works, until it starts working, I can have all I want as to it's going to fail. But if it doesn't fail, it doesn't. But if he breaks those against Boots, it can be a bad day. Virgil's going to start slow against Boots. It's going to be a lot of respect. Most likely. That would be the smart thing. I mean, like I said, early on, Boots got power to knock out Lubin in 2 rounds. But, hold on a second. With that being the case, hold on, wait a minute. Let me say this real quick. Boots cannot be too respectful. Boots cannot be too respectful. If he is too respectful, he's going to end up like if Boots Ennis is too respectful. Excuse me. If Boots Ennis is too respectful of Virgil Ortiz, he is going to fall into the same problems that Erickson Lubin fell into when he got knocked out in 2 rounds. It's going to fall into the same problems. You can't have a respect to where you don't throw. You can't have a respect where you're so tentative that you don't give anything up offensively to try to score in any regard. Don't be like Lubin if you're going to have respect for the power. Because if you do that, you're going to get put to sleep easy. Easy. Because if you are just trying to be just defensive the whole time, Virgil's good enough and strong enough. He'll bust through that defense. If you don't let your fortress move, he'll bust through it. You can't have too much respect for Virgil Ortiz. You can't. If you do, it's gonna be bad. It can get incredibly bad incredibly quickly for the likes of Virgil Ortiz. When Virgil doesn't try to get his foot on the outside of the leg of Southpaw, yep, he does not use it on it. Virgil is a juggernaut. If he starts moving, he won't stop. And they say, Welch, I disagree. Boots is going to check Virgil, or Boots is going to check Virgil's line to get off the ropes. It won't be the same. Good. Wait, hold on. Let me do it. Welch, I disagree. Boots is going to check Virgil's line to get off the ropes. It won't be the same. I hope so. Like I said, I'm banking on it not be. My thing is just you can't stay in front of Virgil. Unless all of a sudden we see a situation where this is he feels the power and it's like, oh, wait, it's not actually as bad. Don't stand in front of the brother. Move around. You do a little bit of what Dalton Smith was doing against the Martinez. You definitely could do it. Especially against somebody that like with Virgil Ortiz, who again breaks all these rules against Southpaws that he shouldn't. Yeah. Go do some work that can truly, and I do mean truly, make everybody scared. from the standpoint of being able to be, oh my gosh, this buddy can box your head off. Showed that against Virgil Ortiz. Because I, as much as I want to say, okay, Boots might be able to take the power, I'm not willing to take that risk. I'm not. And I hope he ain't. Good gosh, I hope he ain't. Because if he is, Lord knows, that would be horrible. That would be bad. That would be very, very bad. Keep your head off the center line. Keep your feet on a pendulum. Change direction every so often. Slip and counter. Aim to counter. Aim to counter a lot. Like I said in the chat, once Virgil starts moving, he's hard to stop. Yes, he is. Guess what that means? You are in prime position for counters. Virgil wants to make it as much as we can say Virgil is for a bunch of things as a boxer, he loves to make it exciting. He will take risks. And if you can counter those risks, you can land some good stuff. You really can. Part of the reason why Bochuk was able to turn that fight into a fight of the year. Because he was on it. You got to be on it. He can be, but again, no. If he gets drawn to a firefight, it can be him. Let me see. One thing I noticed about Boots, he switches a little too much for the aesthetic effect of the crowd. Against Karin in both fights, he was cooking him in orthodox stance and getting beat up in southpaw. And I noticed that too. We covered that fight on this channel as well. I think we watched that fight live or we covered it afterwards. But yeah, he can. The one thing about Boots and Crawford, while they get so many comparisons with each other, the difference is, while both of them can fight in style, when Crawford finds out what works, he'll stick with it. Or if he's comfortable in something that's doing it, he won't get away from it unless he needs to. And then when he needs to, okay, boom, he's switching on. Marvin Hagler was the same way. The switch wasn't turned just for the look. It was turned for the moment. How the fight went, what dictated what he did. Boots, when he gets that, and mind you, he did it against Karin, not Karin, against his best fight against Stanionis. Did a lot better in that fight. Choosing when and where to switch. Keeping a stance. As well as all of the defensive stuff and everything else that came with it. That was great. That was good. But if he goes back to the point of, okay, I'm switching a lot, but it's not in proper situations. We talked about it before. It's show defense, or it's a show style and not a conducive style. Remember we talked about show defense versus real defense a couple of like years ago with Jared Anderson and with Boots Ennis as well. All the flashy stuff, the switching and turning the aesthetics. It looks good, changing guards and whatnot 3 times in a second, but it's not conducive to anything. Same thing goes offensively as well. Stances as well. Not saying that, again, I think Boots has gotten better with that. Absolutely. But if it's a problem that comes back again, it could be a problem. It could be a very big problem. But even still, none of the Crawford is just a better fighter. And no. Be clear. I'm not comparing Crawford and Boots as a fighter. I'm not. I'm saying from a ability standpoint, both of them are very, very great. With Crawford being Terrence Crawford, one of the 10 best in history. There's no question there. This isn't me comparing their skill sets or talent or who's better. With them drawing comparisons with Boots being, okay, he can be another Crawford. Okay, fine. Because they both switch stances and whatnot. With that being the sole line of connection, what makes them different with that connection is also what has helped separate Crawford from everybody else in the world. His situational awareness was so well and good above everybody else in the globe. It made no sense. Made no sense. Boots is not there yet in that type of IQ department. He's a smart fighter. He's a special fighter. He's a great fighter. But he hasn't gotten that understanding yet down. The situations of when to use what and when. You'll see him do stuff. And he showed a look. He showed, again, the Stanionis fight is the biggest fight where you see the biggest leap in growth as a boxer with Boots Ennis. We was doing, again, the situations of when to apply certain stuff. He was doing a lot better with. He was doing a lot more good work with. He was able to not just read and react, but to adapt accordingly. It's gotten better, but it doesn't mean it's up here where it needs to be. And that is one of the biggest differences in why the comparisons with Boots and Crawford, not in comparison of their talent, but of how can you be or get a level of dominance like him. Well, it starts in part with the fact that you got your situational IQ of what to do in the moment, what changes need to happen in the moment, how you need to approach this moment in time is nowhere close to the same. But if you can be as great as you can be, you got to take a page out of Crawford's book and learn how to adopt that type of situational awareness. Because when you do, you can be a whole. You can be special. You can't be special. Let me see. Let's be fair. Boots is still young. Bud and Floyd were straight killers when they were younger, but became more calculated and methodical with age. And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like I said, the mistakes that Crawford fought against, the mistakes that Crawford dealt with against Gamboa, he wouldn't have dealt with them if he had fought Gamboa at the same age that he was fighting Spence. He wouldn't. He was a better fighter. And Boots is young. I am not diminishing the experience. Though, again, he's got 30 fights on his resume. Like I said, now, that's why I've been saying for years, now is the time that this maturity takes hold in who Boots is as a boxer. Again, he is 30 or 29. He's between the ages of 29 and 30. Somewhere along those lines. He is at that threshold where you should be now, we should be seeing on a consistent level elevations in your evolution to be the best fighter that you can be now. You've had 30 fights, or you've had 30 plus fights, 31 KOs. You've been a force of nature. You've gone through the ringer. You trusted your chin. You've done all this stuff. You've made mistakes. You've still been able to conquer. You become unified champion. You now are at you're at the point where now you got to hit the ground running and put it all together. You're at the point now where you got to put it all together on a consistent basis against the top caliber talent in the world. That's where Boots is. He's young, but he's not young because he's now at a point where this is the turnover time. It's no longer for me, the youth, the reasoning of youth as to why certain things are what they are with Boots from a ability standpoint. Just like I've said with other fighters as well, is starting to run dry because now the experience of the fighter should be the thing that evolves into matching the age and matching where we should see your talent also elevate up to. And that's why this is so important that we get this fight with Virgil Ortiz. If he's going to be forced to change and forced to get that maturity, it's going to be now. It's got to be now regardless, but even still, it needs to be. Now or never, which is what I'm so excited about. Let's see, Crawford does those things on the fly. He doesn't even practice, so yeah. He doesn't. Like, it's just in him. It's in him. Crawford is able to, he's one of the most malleable minds we've ever seen. Take that skill and try to apply it to yourself. You can be an insane fighter. I'm not saying you gotta switch it and do all that stuff, but the understanding of when to do what, he's so elite at. He's so elite at. He's so elite, it's insane. Let me see. That straight left into a swing, or that straight left into a swing around left hook was so crazy. Oh, I think we're talking about which one are we talking about? We're talking about, he's still caught in the southpaw against Stanionis. The faults are still there. You're right. They are still there. It's not the fact that they aren't still there. Again, I said this in the reaction to that fight. they improved. It's not going to be perfect, just immediate. But from what he was, it was a drastic improvement. That to me, that's not a debate. What he was pre-standing illness, like with Albanese and Sugar John and others, versus what he is post-standing illness, he is a better fighter. But it's not perfect. It ain't perfect. It ain't perfect in the slightest. Definitely perfect, but it can get there. It can improve even more. And the growth of this fight can lead to so much better things down the line. It really can. It really can. But let me keep on reading what you all have to say. Look at Smith moving like a killer. Butter talking about the winner of Shakur and T.O. or Hitchens and Russell. Yeah, Smith is looking like a dog that everybody right now better pay attention to, because that might be not even he's already a champion. That's a unified potential champion in the future. That is. That he's liable to give another upset against somebody else if they ain't careful. You better take him seriously because he's the real deal. Let me see. But Boots has slow-mo action matrix shots that you can't play. Hey, look, I don't think he should bring those out going up against Virgil Ortiz.
Hey, look at this.
I don't think he should bring that out going up against Virgil. But if he does somehow do that against Virgil Ortiz, if he does that against Virgil Ortiz with a dominant performance, because that's the only reason why that would actually happen, then, all right. Yeah, this butt is different. This butt is different. If he does that, shoot, my gosh. That would be the craziest thing. Imagine he goes back slow-mo again, like he did against Roman Villa. And he does that against Virgil Ortiz. That would be like, oh shoot. Not just disrespect, but that would have shown that, okay, we might have quelled really how great this cat can really be. We might have. We just might have it if we see that show up and show out. That would be insane. Let me see. I mean, all he needs to do is be much faster than his opponent to make you think. Well, no, it's not just being faster. It's speed. It's timing. Mind you, that slow-mo is baiting his opponent also to throw something so that you can slip it and land another shot like he did against, again, Villa. So it's not just about you being fast. You got to be able to react as well as counter and change speeds like that. It's not easy to do. That's why everybody ain't doing it. Again, that's why it's so incredible that Boots did do it in that fight. Because I'm not comparing Boots to Roy Jones Jr. from talent, but this is why we compare him to stuff like with Roy Jones from an athletic perspective. Because what he is as an athlete allows him to do things that other people just can't do. But it ain't easy to do them. And even with that athleticism, you still got to be a great fighter to pull it off. Because it ain't easy. It ain't easy at all. But it is impressive nonetheless. Boots isn't going to get comfortable enough to do that against Virgil Ortiz. Let's hope. Again, that's the full well and good reasoning. But my gosh, I'm saying if we see it, if we did see that, would be one of the most crazy things I've ever seen. If we did see that happen, would be one of the craziest things we could witness. I tell you what. Let me see. I can see him stuff on the campus. If you're talking about Boots, if he does do the slow-mo thing, yeah, there's a risk. But like I said, most likely he won't do it. Let me see. Yeah, the forward reflexes and agility have to be there, but you also have to be super fast like Boots. Yes, absolutely. All those things are correct. All of that is correct. And again, he probably won't do it. If he does do it, it'll show that he will only do it if he is insanely comfortable with what's going on in the ring. With no with no way that he feels, yeah, it's going to be a chore. None whatsoever. But if he does it, I'm going to say this right now. I've been on the boots, and this will be the last thing that I say before we get on out of here, because we do got to make sure that we end off this show. This will be the last topic, the last thing I say before we get on going. I've been saying for years, Boots is going to shock a lot of people with how good he can be. I've been saying for a while that while I've criticized him properly for the issues that he's had, if he fixes them, it's going to be very hard for me to see anybody from 154 to 168 outside of Virgil Ortiz beat this man. And if we see him beat Virgil Ortiz, hypothetically, if this fight happens, I'm going to go out on a limb and say what I said back then. I don't think anybody beats this brother. If he beats Virgil. I don't think anybody beats this cat at 154, at 160, and barring Canelo just because of legacy, and Hamzat Shiraz because of height, I don't think anybody beats him at 168. If he beats Virgil Ortiz in a fashion that, if he did win, would be the best outcome of, like, okay, there's a clear separation. If he doesn't, watch out. And I'm going to say, I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to not pick him against anybody if he does against Virgil Ortiz. But only time will tell. Nonetheless, we do have to wrap it up and send it home and get this show on the road so we can let y'all enjoy the rest of your day, and I can get ready for Thursday as well. But let me see, what if Boots turns out to be a hype job and gets exposed? Well, then we talk about it. Like I said, mind you, this is still, again, losing to Virgil Ortiz is not you getting exposed to an insane degree. Now, if you get like just completely, dog walked, that's a different story. Okay, yeah, there's a level that you ain't at yet. But if you can just get beat, okay, you got beat. It was a good fight, but you got knocked out. And Virgil Ortiz is one of the hardest hitters out there. Okay, fine. Hey, there's no shame in losing to Virgil Ortiz. Be clear. Now, your hierarchy at what you can do at 154, that changes a little bit. Sure, your stock's going to take a hit, but it doesn't mean that you still aren't a great fighter. It just means somebody that beat you is indeed that great. Phenomenal. Incredible. I hope that's the case. If that is the case, because then we can see what Virgil Ortiz can do at 154. He better go and unify every belt afterwards instead of staying stagnant. If you can beat Boots, especially if you can expose Boots, then you should have been already throwing your weight around trying to get every fight you could to become undisputed already. That's a whole other conversation. But if he does show that he's that good, then he's that good. But just straight up losing to Virgil doesn't make it seem like, oh my gosh, yeah, you a hype beast and you a bum. That ain't the case. If Virgil loses to Boots, are we going to say Boots, or are we going to say Virgil's a hype job? If Virgil gets walked to the dog pound by Boots and JARON ENNIS completely decimates that cat, are we going to say that that's Virgil Ortiz got exposed and he ain't nearly as good and he ain't nowhere, he ain't a great fighter? No, because he was proven at 154. We didn't question that he was the legit one of the biggest threats up here because he did have a resume. Didn't have a title, but it had names. It had names. So we can't play that game because it can be a two-way street for either or. So if he loses, he's not gonna be exposed, not gonna be a hype beast, it's not gonna be a bum, ain't gonna be that. But we will reevaluate as we do with every fighter. But it doesn't mean that they're not good, because that just diminishes the win. It does. That would just diminish the win, absolutely. But look, we gotta get out of here. We do have to go and get going, so we can be ready for Thursday afternoon. So we're gonna wrap this show up and send it home. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with all of that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to the show with us on today. It's been a phenomenal time with you all, laughing, having fun, talking about the world of boxing and beyond. Like I said, I didn't want to talk about my Carolina Panthers because we lost. We're out the playoffs. Hey, the Steelers lost. They are out the playoffs as well. We may see Aaron Rodgers retire. We may see the likes of Mike Tomlin get fired. Who knows what's going to happen? The Eagles got bounced. A bunch of stuff happened in the world of the NFL that we're probably going to be able to discuss more so on Thursday, because we're gonna have a little bit more time on Thursday as well. Not because, well, we should be anyway. But either way, thank you all for tuning in, listening to the show. Thank you all for chatting in and joining in on the conversation. If you like, support the channel, we got Cash App and PayPal links down below in the description. If you can support the show, we got so much more in store as we cover sports throughout the entirety of the week. Super chats and gifts also help to support this channel, to help us to go through and turn this into a better, more production-friendly environment for you all to listen and enjoy, and helps to pay the bills as well. So if you can give, would mean the world to me, absolutely, to the show. Also, be sure to leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. Yes, indeed, rate us 5 stars on every podcasting platform, and please be sure to go through and listen to us on Apple or Spotify. You name it, we're there, and if we're not there, tell us. We'll get there absolutely on whatever platform that you listen to. But it's been a phenomenal show. I can't wait to see you all on Thursday. We're going to talk about Keyshawn Davis on Thursday. We're going to talk about the likes of a little bit with Benavidez, as we're previewing his fight that now got confirmed with Zerto Ramirez for May, and so much more to cover in the world of boxing and beyond. But like I said, I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. We are here. Yes, sir. We're going to see you all on Thursday. Have a great time. Have a great day. Be safe. Be blessed. And we out.